स्थापितं येन भूतले स्वयं रूपा कदा मह्यं ददाति स्वापदान्तिकम् वन्देऽहं श्रीगुरु श्रीयुतापदकमलं श्रीगुरुन् वैष्णवांश्च श्रीरूपं साग्रजातं सहगना रघुनाथान्वितं तं सजीवं साद्वैतं सावधूतं परिजनसहितं कृष्ण चैतन्य देवम श्री राधा कृष्ण पादान सहगना ललिता श्री विशाखान्वितांश्च हे कृष्णा करुणा सिंधु दीनबंधु जगतपते गोपेशा गोपिका कांत राधा कांत नमोस्तुते तप्त कांचन गौरांगी श्री राधे वृंदावनेश्वरी वृषभानुसुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये वाञ्छाकल्पतरुभ्यस्य कृपा सिन्धुभ्य एव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि श्री गौर भक्त वृंद हरे कृष्णा कृष्ण कृष्ण हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे। ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। नारायण नमस्कृत्यं नरं चैव नरोत्तमं देवीं सरस्वतीं व्यासं ततो जयमुदीरयेत्। शृण्वतां स्वकथा कृष्ण पुण्य श्रवण कीर्तनं हृद्यन्तस्त्वभद्राणि विदुनोति सुहृत्सताम् नष्टप्रायेषु अभद्रेषु नित्यं भागवत सेवया भगवती उत्तमश्लोके भक्तिर्भवति नैष्टिकी। सर्वशास्त्राब्दि पीयूष सर्ववैदिक सत्फल सर्वसिद्धांत रत्नाद्य सर्वलोकैक दृक्प्रद सर्वभागवत प्राण श्रीमद्भागवतो प्रभु कलिध्वंसोतितादित्य श्री कृष्ण परिवर्तिता परमानंद पाठाय प्रेम वर्ष अक्षराय ते सर्वद सर्वसेवाय श्री कृष्णाय नमोस्तुते मद एक बंधु मद संगिन मद गुरुन् मद महाधना मन निस्तारक मन भाग्य मद आनंद नमोस्तुते असाधु साधु तादाइन अचिनी ताकरा हा ना मुंचा कदाचिन मां प्रेम न हृत कंठयो स्फुरः। ग्रंथराज श्रीमद् भागवताम की जय श्रील प्रभुपाद की जय। Hare Krishna. So thank you all so much for joining. Nice to see you all Sunday morning. Back to our weekly seva of Srimad Bhagavatam. We do our Nityam Seva every day, and then we have our 3 hours of weekly seva to the Srimad Bhagavatam. So thank you so much for joining. So we'll continue our discussion. We are in third canto, chapter 8 of the Srimad Bhagavatam. And last time there were a few questions, so we'll discuss that, those answers also. And right. So we read up to text number 24, I think. Or 26, actually. 26. Okay. So, okay, so let me continue with the shlokas. So what section have we come up to? We have come to the point where Brahma, actually now he is getting darshan of Garbhodakshaya Vishnu, and having seeing the darshan of Garbhodakshaya Vishnu, he is actually describing the beautiful form of Garbhodakshaya Vishnu. So we started off with text number 24. So maybe we can start off just reading the translation for 24, 25, and then on 26 onwards, we'll start with Sanskrit. And then we'll just complete this, then I'll go back and answer the questions that we had during our previous session. Right? So this is the last part of this chapter. This chapter ends with this description. And in the next chapter, we hear how Brahmaji offers prayers to Garbhodakshaya Vishnu. The next chapter is very, very beautiful chapter. because we have the prayers of Brahmaji and how the Lord actually replies to Brahmaji. And it's very, very practical, like how we can pray to the Lord and we can see how the Lord is actually responding to us. So we'll start off with chapter number 9 then, right? Okay, so let's start with text number 24, and let's just read the translation for 24 and 25. Go ahead.
I don't have the list yet, so anybody who'd like to start.
Yeah.
The luster of the transcendental body of the Lord mocked the beauty of the coral mountain. The coral mountain is very beautifully dressed by the evening sky, but the yellow dress of the Lord mocked its beauty. There is gold on the summit of the mountain, but the Lord's helmet, bedecked with jewels, mocked it. The mountain's waterfalls, herbs, etc., with a panorama of flowers, seem like garlands, but the Lord's gigantic body and his hands and legs, decorated with jewels, pearls, toasty leaves, and flower garlands, mock the scene of the mountain.
So now Brahmaji is seeing Garbhodakshay Vishnu lying on Ananta Shesh, and he's seeing how Garbhodakshay Vishnu, the gigantic white body of Sheshanag, so he's seeing the white body of Sheshanag, and he's seeing Garbhodakshay Vishnu lying on it, right? And he also saw like how the hoods of Ananta Shesh has all these jewels, and those jewels are illuminating light everywhere, right? So that is his description. And then now he's describing, and in this verse, like particularly the word used is shipantam. Shipantam means he's deriding. Like he's saying the beauty of the Lord derides any beauty of this material world. It cannot be compared in one way. The Lord is so beautiful that he is beyond comparison even with the most beautiful object of this material world, right? So here he's actually saying, okay, what is his example he's using of a beautiful object? He's using the example of a beauty of a coral mountain. And he's saying how just the luster of the body of the Lord, the color of the body of the Lord, that actually derides even the beauty of a coral mountain. Like we don't even have experience of a coral mountain, but Brahmaji is actually saying of all mountains, maybe if you consider a coral mountain, which is a mountain made of jewel, right? The coral mountain, then in that color, the color of the Lord derides even the beauty of that. And then he says the yellow dress of the Lord, it actually derides even the evening sky. This maybe we have more experience that, when in the evening, it's sometimes you see like a nice color, it's like orangish, yellow color, and it looks so beautiful, right? And saying the Lord's the color of his dhoti is so attractive that it derides even this that evening sun, evening light, sky. It actually is no comparison compared to the color of the dress of the Lord, right? And then he says, if you consider mountain, the mountain has like a gold summit, right? And then the Lord's helmet, which is actually bedecked with jewels, that derides the gold on the mountain. And then he talked of garlands, how the garlands on the Lord, the hands and legs are decorated with jewels, with pearls, with tulsi leaves, right? And this actually derives, even if you consider the Coral Mountain having waterfalls, right? So it's actually very beautiful. If you imagine nice, beautiful mountain, evening sky, waterfalls, trees, streams on the mountain, very beautiful. But he's saying that the Lord's form is actually deriding. He says the garlands, the hands, legs, etc. They deride the mountain waterfalls. And the arms and the feet of the Lord, it actually derides the trees which are at the base of the mountain, right? And the arms, they deride the bamboo which is high on the mountain. And that way he's given like a panoramic beauty of nature. And he's saying that this beauty of nature has no comparison to the beauty of the Lord. How the Lord's beauty is transcendental, right? Transcendental. So if you want to read more, a very nice section on the beauty of the Lord is described in Chaitanya Charitamrita when Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is giving instructions to Sanatan Goswami. In that, there is a whole section where just Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu very nicely talks about the beauty of the Lord. Maybe I'll just read one verse. This is from Madhya Lila, chapter 21, and around text 100 onwards, right? It's a very nice section. So there it says, one of the verses says, the ornaments that that the Lord wears, right? Ornaments on the body of the Lord, right? So the ornaments carries that body, but the transcendental body of of Krishna is so beautiful that it beautifies the ornaments he wears. So we take darshan of Radha Golokananda, dressed with so many nice ornaments, right? So now who is beautifying whom? Is the ornaments beautifying Krishna, or is Krishna beautifying the ornaments? Right? So here actually in text, this 105, he says, but the transcendental body of Krishna is so beautiful that it beautifies the ornaments that Krishna is actually wearing. And therefore, Krishna's body is said to be Bhushana Bhushanangam. He is the ornament of all ornaments. Right? Krishna's body is the ornament of all ornaments. Enhancing the wonderful beauty of Krishna is his three curved style of standing, right? The Tribhanga, right? So threefold bending form. And above all these beautiful features, Krishna's eye dance and move obliquely. Krishna's eyes are dancing and moving obliquely, acting like arrows to pierce the mind of Srimati Radharani and the gopis. When the arrow succeeds in hitting its target, their mind become agitated. Right? So what is the target? When the arrows succeed in hitting the target. So what is the arrow and what is the target?
Arrow is the glance of the Lord.
Yeah, the Krishna's eyes, right? So that the eyes, the glance from the eyes, you can say that, they dance and they move obliquely and they are acting like arrows. And what is the target?
Heart of the devotee.
The minds of Srimati Radharani, gopis, and the devotees. Right? So Krishna's eyes move in such a way that they're piercing the heart of all of the Srimati Radharani, the gopis, and all his wonderful devotees. And then when the arrow succeeds in hitting the target, their minds become agitated. Right? So nice. So anyway, so many verses in this, right? So this is a beautiful form of the Lord. Right? So Krishna's unparalleled beauty is the topmost sweetness of love of Godhead. And one of the purpose Prabhupada has this sentence: Krishna's unparalleled beauty is the topmost sweetness of love of Godhead. Right? So love of God is a goal. But what is the sweetness, topmost sweetness of that? That is the unparalleled beauty of the Lord. Right? Okay, text number 25. Let's just read the translation.
His transcendental body, unlimited in length and breadth, occupied the three planetary systems, upper, middle, and lower. His body was self-illuminated by unparalleled dress and variegatedness and was properly ornamented.
So it says, Aya Mataha Vistaraha. So what was the size of the Lord? And then here Brahmaji is saying, so imagine Brahmaji, like we read that how he performed meditation, and after the meditation, the Lord actually revealed himself to Brahma. So Brahma is looking at the form of Garbhodaksha Vishnu. And what is the length and breadth of the Lord? And here he's actually saying that even Swamana, by his own measurement, so even if Garbhodaksha Vishnu is trying to measure his length and breadth, his actually body is so vast that it seems as covering all the three planetary systems. Right? And so basically it is immeasurable. It is all pervading. It's like an unlimited form. Right? And then he says, Vichitra Divya Abharana. Right? So he's actually decorated with Abharana. Abharana means ornaments. Right? So variegated transcendental Divya, or Divya, variegated Divya ornaments. Right? And the rays, so we discussed this. Amshukam Vesha Deham. Yeah. Okay. Right. So this proves this transcendental variegatedness of the Lord. And we discuss how Prabhupada says this is so important in advancement of spiritual knowledge. Right. So we are all attracted to so much varieties in this world. But now how can we progress in our life? By being attracted to the variety of Krishna. Variety of Krishna's pastimes, varieties of Krishna's beauty, all this variegatedness. We have to read about it very carefully. And then as we read about these details about Krishna's form, Krishna's beauty, his ornaments, we read about all this, then we'll get attracted to Krishna. Right? So by that variegatedness, we can actually get attracted, right? So it's so important for us in advancement of spiritual knowledge, Prabhupada says. Okay. Now, let's start with 26. We'll do the Sanskrit also now. I think we did this, right?
Yeah, we did 26.
Yeah, we did. Okay, so just the English translation. Let's continue. So we have a list now. Okay, go ahead, Sri Radhamati.
The Lord showed his lotus feet by raising them. His lotus feet are the source of all awards achieved by devotional service, free from material contamination. Such awards are for those who worship him in pure devotion. The splendor of the transcendental rays from his moon-like toenails and fingernails appeared like the petals of a flower.
Hmm. So I mentioned this that here it says Pumsam Swa Kamaya. Kamaya means calm means desires.
Yes,
Right.
sir.
So the living entity's desires can all be fulfilled by what? Kama Dukkha Angripadam. The lotus feet of the Lord fulfills all the desires of human beings. Right? But what kind of human beings? Those human beings who actually abhyarchatam, who worship the Lord. How? Vivikta margahi. Vivikta margahi means in devotional service that is free from contamination of karma and jnana. Which verse is this? Devotional service which is free of the contamination of karma and jnana. Wake up, everyone. Jeev Jago. What is the definition of devotional service?
Sarvopadi Vinirmuktam.
Okay.
Tatparadvena Nirmalam.
Yes.
Shikenergy.
Very nice, Bruce. So that is one definition. One more definition I was looking for where it directly says devotional service free from the coverings of Gyan and Karma.
Jnana karmadi anavritam.
Yes, what is the first line? You got it. You got the verse. Definition of pure devotional service. Anya bhilasita sunyam jnana karmadi anavritam. So those who worship the Lord with this anya abhilash, no other desire than the desire to please the Lord, and which is actually free from karma and jnana. Those who approach the lotus feet of the Lord in that way, then the Lord fulfills all the desires of that particular person. So one way when you say like, you just said anya abhilasita sunyam. There's no desires that a person does not have material desires who's worshiping the Lord. Then what kind of desires does the Lord fulfill? His spiritual desires, his desires to serve the Lord, have darshan of the Lord, just be with an association of devotees, hear Hari Katha, all those spiritual desires, do so many projects for the pleasure of one spiritual master. All the spiritual desires can be fulfilled by when one takes shelter of the lotus feet. Right? We read this another section when the prayers of the demigods, they offer prayers to Karandaksha Vishnu. The entire section talked about what? The lotus feet of the Lord. Right? So that was, what chapter was it? Chapter 6, the last section, right? Where the demigods offer prayers. Right? So in that section, that is the most beautiful section on the lotus feet. Let me just see. Sorry, chapter 5. Chapter 5, text number 39 to 51 is all about those prayers to the lotus feet. And there we read what? When these demigods are praying, what are they saying? Oh Lord, your lotus feet are just like an umbrella. Umbrella protecting us from what? From miseries of this material world. Such a nice meditation. That we are always inflicted with so many miseries, whether that's just like bodily or emotional, all these miseries come. But we can say, okay, this is so disturbing. I just need some shelter. And what is the shelter? We can just meditate that the lotus feet of the Lord is just like an umbrella, which will protect us from all the miseries. So we just come and we kindly take shelter of the lotus feet of the Lord. And the lotus feet of the Lord will act like an umbrella and protect us from all the miseries. Right? And then he talked about how the lotus feet, those who are overwhelmed with so much tapatraya, all the jivas, right? They don't find any happiness. But when they take shelter of the shade of the lotus feet, then it gives them all knowledge. And what is the point? That all our suffering is because of what? Ignorance, right? And we take shelter of the lotus feet of the Lord, then we get knowledge. And by that knowledge, all our ignorance and sufferings are washed away. Then also it said it vanquishes the sinful reactions, it reveals knowledge, detachment, it gives us remembrance, it gives us courage in our spiritual life, all by meditating on the lotus feet of the Lord. Right? Then further, it says, when we meditate on the lotus feet of the Lord, then what happens? In this verse, it says, Padarshayantam kripaya. Pradarshan, like even in Hindi we use the word, right? Darshan, pradarshan means to show. What does the Lord do when we actually meditate on the lotus feet of the Lord? So when Brahma was seeing this lotus feet of the Lord, then the Lord, he actually raised one of his feet out of his kripa, and in that way he gave full darshan to the feet of, to Brahmaji, right? So when we meditate on the lotus feet of the Lord, out of his causeless mercy, the Lord will actually like show his lotus feet to us. In that way, we actually directly get darshan of the beautiful form of the Lord. What does this mean? That we may, like, we can go in front of Radha Golokananda and we see them, right? But when we actually really meditate on the lotus feet of the Lord, then we get a darshan of a next level. See, the Lord is unlimited, unlimitedly beautiful. It's only up to us as we approach the Lord and surrender unto Lord and pray to the Lord, take shelter of the lotus feet. To that extent, the Lord will reveal his beauty. So when we are in front of our deities and we are praying to a lotus feet, the Lord will show his beautiful lotus feet, and we'll see that lotus feet of the Lord as if we have never seen before. It's like, wow, so beautiful. I've been seeing their Lordship for so many years, but now this darshan, I never had this darshan of the feet of the Lord. So that way the Lord will show his feet to us. And then how are the feet described? Nakha Indu Mayukha. So beautiful. It says the nails of the feet of the Lord are like moon-like rays, right? And the toes are like petals of a lotus, right? So imagine, you can meditate. So the lotus feet of the Lord, like the toes are what? The petals of a lotus flower. And the nails are like the moon rays, right? Moon rays. So white, you can see moon rays and the petals. And his Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur is saying, it is so astonishing that normally the lotus actually opens when the sun shines during the day. But now the lotus has opened when? Because of moonshine, right? So the petals are like open lotus petals, like the toes are like open lotus petals, and then that is moonshine right there, right? Such a beautiful meditation. So now one other point which is so interesting is we know Brahma Samhita prayers, right? We quoted, right? Chintam, starting Ishvara Parama Krishna, Sachidananda Vigraha, right? Anadi Radhe Govinda, Sarvakaran Karanam. Chintamani Prakara Sadma Sukalpa Vriksha, right? So in these prayers, what is Brahma describing? He is actually describing Goloka Vrindavan, right? He's actually giving a description of Vrindavan. So now if you say, now he's seeing Garbhodakshay Vishnu. This is the starting of the day, right? Brahma woke up, his alarm rang, and said like, oh, where am I? What am I doing, right? And then he did the meditation, he got darshan of the Lord. So Brahma here is getting darshan of Garbhodakshay Vishnu. But how did Brahma actually compose Brahma Samhita, which is description of Goloka Vrindavan, right? So it is said by Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur, he gives a reference to certain verses also, making the point that after Brahma's celebrated his 50th birthday, 50th birthday, right? After that was then the first day after that, that's actually Akaran day, that day in the morning, when Brahma actually woke up and he meditated, he got darshan of Krishna as a cowherd boy. Right? So this darshan of Krishna as a cowherd boy, it does not happen every day in the morning of Brahma. But this day, today morning of Brahma, when he woke up, he had darshan of, and hence he compiled the Brahma Samhita prayers. Right? So when here it says Krishna actually showed darshan of one of his feet, Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur is saying, when we see Krishna, how do we see Krishna? Threefold bending form. One of the feet is on the ground and the other feet is raised. So when it says Krishna showed one feet, that means Krishna actually showed his threefold bending form. Because today Brahma had darshan of the threefold bending form of Krishna as a cowherd boy. Right? But that's not every day. But today was special. Okay. Everyone okay up to this point?
So the darshan he got, the one we read in second canto,
Yeah.
of Vaikuntha planets, that was on the first day he was born. The Chatushloki was spoken on the when he was first appeared.
Not necessarily like, this creation, when creation is described, in general, like, maybe there are certain differences in the creation we read in the third canto with the second canto. But that's just in different days of Brahma. The main point is today, after 50 years, the first day after that, he had darshan of Goloka Vrindavan. In other days, maybe it is slightly different. He had darshan of Vaikuntha planets, or here he's getting darshan of Garbhodakshaya Vishnu, and he has his meditation and so on. But today was special that he got darshan of Goloka Vrindavan. Okay. Okay. So 27. Let's go.
Mukhe nalokarti harasmitena parispurat kundala manditena shonaitena dharabimba bhasa pratyarhayantam sunasena supra.
Hare Krishna, he has acknowledged the service of the devotees and vanquished their distress by his beautiful smile. The reflection of his face, decorated with earrings, was so pleasing because it dazzled with the rays from his lips and the beauty of his nose and eyebrows.
Mhm. So when we actually approach the Lord, we offer seva to the Lord. How does the Lord reciprocate with us?
Smile.
Smile. Like in after Kunti Maharani's prayers, then what did the Lord do? He just smiled at the Lord, right? So here it says that first it says mukhena. Mukhena means the face, right? Mukhena, and by a gesture of his face. So if you see mukhena word to word, Krishna says by a gesture of the face, right? Just by the gesture of the face, first what does he do? He acknowledges the service of the devotee. Just by giving darshan of his face, just by a gesture of the face, he actually acknowledges, yes, what service you have done is very pleasing to me, right? He acknowledges, I'm seeing what all service you're doing, every small service you're doing, I'm seeing, right? So Krishna is acknowledging that. Then he says, Loka Arti Harasmitena. And then he actually smiles, right? And when he smiles, then that Loka Arti Hara, it actually, all the distress of the devotee is vanquished by the smile of the Lord. Right? So our first meditation, when you're offering service, how does the Lord reciprocate? Just by a gesture of his face. Right? And the second is he smiles. And then by the smile, all our tears for so many lifetimes are all vanquished. All miseries are vanquished. Right? Another meaning of this can also be, what is the other meaning of this? When we see Queen Kunti's prayers, is she really concerned about distress? No. She says, give me more distress, Krishna. So what is the smile actually giving to Queen Kunti? It is actually vanquishing the distress of separation from Krishna. For pure devotees, that smile is actually vanquishing the pain of separation for Krishna, right? But yeah, for conditioned souls, it vanquishes the distress of our devotees, right? Then third point, right? Suburara, he shows one of his beautiful eyebrows, right? It is described that just by the movement, meditation on the eyebrows of Krishna, all one's lusty desires are vanquished. Right? So this movement of the eyebrow of Krishna is actually a very confidential gesture. Right? So in Brahma actually is getting that, right? So very confidential gesture. So Subrura. So he shows one beautiful eyebrow, which is a confidential emotion of Krishna. And then Bimba Bhasa. That means his face, the gesture of his face, you can see the reflection of the face because of his dazzling earrings, right? Because of the earrings are dazzling. Then what happens? Because they are shining, they reflect on the cheeks of Krishna, right? So in that way, his entire face actually appears like reflecting, like shining, right? So, and then he says Adhara. So the shine is actually illuminating his lips and his su narena, his pleasing nose. So beautiful meditation on the Lord, right? So what are the points? First point is what? How does the Lord reciprocate with the devotees? First point is
Gesture of the face.
gesture of the face, right? He just and by the gesture he acknowledges the service of the devotee, right? Then second point is he smiles, and by that smile, what happens? All the distress of the devotees are vanquished. Second thing. Then third, what does he do? If we are really intimate, then he shows his eyebrow, one movement of eyebrow. Very confidential emotion of the Lord, right? Then fourth one is his shining face. Because of the earrings, dazzling earrings, his entire face is shining. His lips are shown and his nose, pleasing nose, actually appears, right? And then Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur is saying, those who receive this kind of reciprocation from the Lord, they are very special. They are very special. That means they have done some kind of service that has pleased the Lord a lot, that he's actually reciprocating in such a nice way. Right. So Prabhupada in the purport, he actually says that when devotees engage in devotional service, what do they ask for? They don't have any aspiration. They say, Krishna, I just want more service. Right? Please bless me with more opportunities to serve. All I want is, I do not want anything in exchange for my services. All I want is, I want to serve you. Right? Even the most desirable liberation, the devotee says, no, no, Krishna. If you want, keep me here, birth after birth. Mama janmani janmani ishvare. Again and again. I don't care. As long as I have bhakti, devotional service unto you. Right? That is the aspiration of a devotee. And then the Lord is actually thinking that, my devotees, they don't want anything. But how can I reciprocate with them? I want to reciprocate with them, but the devotees don't want anything. Hence, what happens? The Lord becomes a debtor to his devotees. That they have done so much for me, I cannot do anything for them. Therefore, how does the Lord repay the service of his devotees? By showing his enchanting beauty, as described in this verse. As described in this verse. And then, when the Lord shows his enchanting beauty, then the devotees become so satisfied, that, oh, I have not done anything, but still the Lord is so kind that he's showing his beautiful form to me. Right? And then what happens? When the devotee experiences the reciprocation of the Lord, then what happens? The devotee says, whoa, I didn't do anything, but the Lord is so kind, he's reciprocating, I should do more seva. He's reciprocating, I didn't do anything, I should serve more. And then when devotees serve more, then the Lord says, again, I cannot repay the debt. I already showed my face to reciprocate and acknowledge, but he's serving me more and more. Then he actually reciprocates more by showing his beauty. And then there's this transcendental competition between the Lord and the devotees. The devotees want to serve the Lord, and then the Lord reciprocates, and then the devotees want to serve more, and the Lord reciprocates. In Chaitanya Charitamrita, it described very nicely in Adi Lila chapter 4, the internal reasons of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's appearance. It talks about how Krishna, when he sees the gopis, then what happens? His joy and his sweetness increases. And the gopis start thinking, oh, Krishna has obtained so much pleasure by seeing me, and then their beauty increases. The gopis' beauty is now increasing. And then Krishna sees the beauty of the gopis, and thus his beauty increases. And then Gopi sees Krishna's beauty, and thus their beauty increases. And this is like verse after verse of CC, right? And then he says, Krishna derives pleasure from the gopis' beauty and good qualities, and seeing his pleasure, the gopis' joy increases. In this way, no one acknowledges defeat. And hence, that is this transcendental competition between the devotee and the Lord, right? And we want to enter this kind of competition. Like, and it is very practical. We may say, oh, this is only at the level of gopis. No, even for us, when we do service to the Lord, we can actually experience. May not be that level of reciprocation that high pure devotees or gopis experience, but we will feel where the Lord somehow or other is reciprocating with us. And when we even feel a glimpse of the reciprocation of the Lord, then we'll feel that, oh, actually, I didn't do anything. Whatever little seva I did, that also, Krishna, you gave me the intelligence, you gave me the opportunity, right? Everything I did, whatever little thing I did, is only you gave me all this, right? And now you are reciprocating with me? No, Krishna, I have to do more for you. You're so kind, I have to do more. And the devotees want to serve more. And then Krishna will reciprocate more. And devotee wants to serve more. And this is, we should actually enter this life of competition with Krishna. Seva, reciprocation, seva, reciprocation, seva, reciprocation. And we can experience that even now in our sadhana. And this actually makes our Krishna conscious journey so exciting. That nothing else of this material world compares to this excitement, this joy of seva and reciprocation. So this is the beauty of Krishna consciousness, right? So somehow or other, we have to become candidates to be a part of this transcendental competition. So don't enter other competitions where, oh, he has so much, I need to get so much more, right? All those competitions is just going to lead to suffering. Only one competition we want to enter, which is that competition of seva and reciprocation. Right? Okay, 28.
Kadamba kinjal kapishanga vasasa swalankritam me kalayani tambe harena chananta dhanena vatsa Srivatsa Bhaksha Sthala Vallabhena.
My dear Vidura, the Lord's waist was covered with yellow cloth resembling the saffron dust of the Kadamba flower, and it was encircled by the well-decorated belt. His chest was decorated with the Srivatsa marking and a necklace of unlimited value.
So now it says the clothing of the Lord, Kadamba Kinjalka, right? So that is like the saffron dust of Kadamba flowers. Right? So if you see in Vrindavan, even now you go, you can actually find Kadamba flowers, right? So the dust, the pollen of those Kadamba flowers, it says the dress of the Lord, right, is like the saffron dust of the Kadamba flowers, right? Pishanga Vasasa, his dress. Then Swa Alankrita, he's well decorated with a belt, right? Even in Radha Golokananda, we see Golokananda has a belt sometimes, right? Nice, beautiful belt, Meklala. Mekha Laya, well decorated belt. Then Harena Cha Srivatsa, right? So there's a garland and there is Srivatsa on his chest. And this is Valabhena. This is very pleasing. This form of the Lord is very pleasing to Brahmaji. Right? Now, we have heard often about Srivatsa, right? But what is this Srivatsa, right? So there are actually, in our Bhagavatam, we'll see that 3 different descriptions of Srivatsa. Because we have heard it so often, I wanted to mention these 3 descriptions of the Srivatsa. The first description of Srivatsa is actually said that this is, and this is the most commonly accepted description of Srivatsa, is that this is a lock of hair on the right side of Sri Vishnu's chest. Like a lock of hair on the right side of Sri Vishnu's chest. So this is the first one. And sometimes it is shown that the hair is whitish and it has like a cross mark, right? Or sometimes on some deities, they show it like a flower. Okay. So this is first, just like a hair of lock. So if you want reference, we'll come to this 3:19:15. Prabhupada talks about this. Srivatsa is a curl of white hair on the chest of the Lord. Right, so there's 3:19:15. Right, and also in 10:13:48 is described the Srivatsa is described as a curl of fine yellow hair on the upper portion of the right side of Lord Vishnu's chest. Right, so whitish or yellowish hair. Okay, that's the first one. Then second meaning of Srivatsa is given that it says the Srivatsa is a place where Lakshmiji resides. Srivatsa. Right, so Lakshmiji is residing in that place. right? And this reference for this in Prabhupada in Bhagavatam 4.8.47, he says, the Lord is further described as having the mark of Srivatsa, or the sitting place of the goddess of fortune. Right? So the place where Lakshmiji resides on the chest of the Lord, that is Srivatsa. Now, third description is given is sometimes we see Srivatsa can also be the Kaustuba jewel that is described. Right, and this is actually one devotee did this research. It's very nice actually. I can share this, and he actually looks up. There's he quotes from Haridas Das, the compiler of Gaudiya Vaishnava Abhidhana, and then he gives reference for Bhakti Chandrika Patala and Lokananda Acharya, Narhari Sarkar. So he's given so many references and says many of the shlokas, even in Srimad Bhagavatam, you will find Srivatsa and Kaustuba are explained in the same line, or sometimes it's this compound word with dual meanings. That this is Srivatsa and this is Kaustuba, right? So sometimes Srivatsa is described as the Kaustuba jewel. So these three meanings are described for the Srivatsa that the Lord is described with. Okay. Okay. Text 29.
Parardhya Keyuramani Pravika Paryastadurdanda Sahasrashakam Avyaktamulam Bhuvanam Gripendram Ahendra Bhokar Adivishviktavalsham. Gopinathacharya Prabhu.
As a sandalwood tree is decorated with fragrant flowers and branches, the Lord's body was decorated with valuable jewels and pearls. He was the self-situated tree, the Lord of all others in the universe. And as a sandalwood tree is covered with many snakes, so the Lord's body was also covered by the hoods of Ananta.
So previously he compared to the Lord to a coral mountain, right? Now he's comparing the Lord to a sandalwood tree. And why is he comparing the Lord to a sandalwood tree? Because like when you have a sandalwood tree, the perfume of the tree, it actually just pervades everything. Similarly, the fame of the Lord, it actually pervades the whole universe. And in that way, he's comparing that. So first is the fragrance of sandalwood is compared to the fame of the Lord. Just like the fragrance smells everywhere. Similarly, the fame of the Lord is spread everywhere. Right? First comparison. Second, he says, when you see sandalwood tree, it has thousands of branches. And that is compared to thousands of arms of the Lord, right? Then third comparison is a sandalwood tree. If you try to find the root, it is very difficult, right? It appears beginningless. Similarly, one cannot trace out the root of the Lord because the Lord is beginningless, right? Third comparison. Then right, and also in this in this third comparison, it's said that how the Lord is his own shelter. So Sa Atma Swa Shraya Shraya. This actually comes in Srimad Bhagavatam 2.10.9, where the Lord is described as Sa Atma Swa Shraya Shraya. That who is the shelter of the Lord? He is his own shelter. Right? He's his own shelter. So similarly, there's no root, he's beginningless. So just like that. So that's that. Then number 4, it says sandalwood is compared to the king of all trees. So similarly, the Lord is the king of all the living entities. Right? Then 5, the 5th point is, Lord has shoulders that are touched by the hoods of Anantashesh. Right? The shoulders of the Lord are touched by the hoods of Anantashesh. And how is that comparison for sandalwood? Because the sandalwood trees are covered with snakes. Right? So similarly, the Lord's shoulder is compared to, yeah, so that's that point, right? Touched by the hoods of Anantashesh, the trees are embraced or surrounded by snakes. Right? And then the Bhuvana Angripa. So the last point, Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur says is that 1 foot actually protects the whole world. Just like we meditation on 1 foot of the Lord, what did it say? it destroys the miseries of everything. So in that way, that 1 foot of the Lord protects. So similarly, here it says Bhuvana Angripa. So 1 foot protects the whole world. Right. So in this way, he's actually comparing the Lord to a sandalwood tree. Okay. Okay, next text number 30. Okay, everyone.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Prabhuji, the last one, 1 foot protects all. So how this is in comparison to sandalwood tree?
Actually, Prabhupada does not mention this point, that last, that Bhuvana Angripa, because if you see in the Sanskrit, where are we? 29, sorry. So if you see in the Sanskrit, it says Bhuvana as universal, Angripa is trees. So Prabhupada actually does not directly mention that point in the okay. Also, Prabhupada, you can say the point where he says Lord of all others in the universe, because the Bhuvana is there, right? Lord of all others in the universe. So that point we can say, right? So that Prabhupada is comparing to the self-situated tree. So Prabhupada compares that since the sandalwood tree is self-situated. So similarly, it says that the Lord is Bhuvana Angripa, that his feet is actually protecting everyone. So that comparison can be made.
And Prabhuji, the second point you said, as the branches of the tree are everywhere. And so, what was the comparison for the Lord in the second point?
The arms of
Arms.
yeah. Okay. Okay. I think even Subodhini has, right? Let's see. Yeah. So okay, Subodhini gives 4 points. And Subodhini, if you see, there are 4 points there. Right? Okay, let's see. Mati, you have a question or anything?
Hare Krishna Prabhuji. Prabhuji, in text 26, you said on 50th birthday of Brahma, he was able to see Krishna in the cowherd boy form. So, is there any reference? Where does it say 50th birthday? I'm like, am I missing
Yeah.
something?
No, it is there. I'll give you the reference number. It will.
It's not here, right, Prabhuji? It's not here. Yeah,
It's
there's
not
nothing.
yeah. It's in Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur. He quotes 26, right? Let me see. Yeah.
Yeah, that is 26, Prabhuji.
Yeah, he quotes from Gopala Tapani Upanishad. Right?
Okay.
Where he says, he quotes that Tad hu hovacha brahmano sadanam charato me dhyata sutaha paradhanta so. So that's a whole quote, right? That after passing the first half of my lifetime, right? So
Oh.
Brahma lives for 2 prarabdhas. Prarabdha means 50 years. So after passing the first half of my lifetime, right? When the night ended and I meditated and praised the Lord who appeared in a dress of a cowherd boy before me. Right. So that's reference. And this will come again in the next chapter also, where Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur again quotes the same verse to establish that how in today Brahma actually had darshan of Krishna as a cowherd boy.
Sure. And for Srivatsa jewel, Srivatsa, it's not a jewel. Srivatsa, you said 3 points. Lock of hair on the right side of his Vishnu's chest.
Yeah.
And the other description is whitish yellow hair.
Yeah.
And where
That's one.
God,
That's one.
and the second one where goddess Lakshmi resides in the same place.
Yes.
And then the place of Kaustubha
Third,
jewel also.
actually, it says that Srivatsa is actually Kaustubha jewel because their reference is given together.
Yeah, but it is this is hair and that is
That is a jewel, yeah.
jewel, right? Yeah.
But I can share that reference. He actually says that the way Kaustubha jewel and Srivatsa are referred, that sometimes it's like the same word describing both. So that way they cannot be separated. They are one way together.
Okay. Yeah. Thank you, Prabhuji.
So, Prabhu, here it is mentioned about the lords having Ananta, but Krishna having Ananta means like Krishna Balaram.
That's a good point. No, this verse you are referring to, sandalwood tree comparison. Okay, but see, the point is, like, this description, what we are reading here is Darshan of Garbhodakshaya Vishnu. This is Garbhodakshaya Vishnu, and this could be any day of Brahma. But because for this day, where we are today, Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur is saying that is. Yeah. But it could be Balram. Krishna and Balram are never separated. Okay, so 30.
Characharoko Bhagavan Mahidram Ahindra Bandhum Shalilo Pagudham Kirita Sahasra Hiranya Shringham Avir Bhavat Kostubha Ratna Garbham.
Like a great mountain, the Lord stands as the abode for all moving and non-moving living entities. He is the friend of the snakes because Lord Nananta is his friend. As a mountain has thousands of golden peaks, so the Lord was seen with the thousands of golden helmeted hoods of Anantanaga. And as a mountain is sometimes filled with jewels, so also his transcendental body was fully decorated with valuable jewels. As a mountain is sometimes submerged in the ocean water, so the Lord is sometimes submerged in the water of devastation.
So previous verse, Lord was compared to sandalwood tree. Now, where does sandalwood tree grow? They say sandalwood always grows in Malaya mountain, right? So now he is compared to Malaya mountain. And he says, Chara achara bhagvat mahidram. So Lord, like a great mountain, the Lord stands as the abode for chara and achara, moving and non-moving living entities. Who is the shelter of all of moving and non-moving living entities? The Lord. Just like a mountain gives shelter to everyone. Then Ahi Indram Bandhum. He is a friend of Ahi Indra. Who is Ahi Indra? He's a friend of the king of snakes. Just like a mountain is a friend for the snakes. All the snakes can go and reside in the mountain. The mountain will give shelter to all the snakes. Then Shalila Upa Gudam. So how a mountain may be sometimes embraced with different water streams that are flowing. Similarly, the Lord is surrounded with what? Who are we talking about? Garbhodakshaya Vishnu. What is he surrounded with? What? The Garbhodak ocean or the milk ocean, right? So Garbhodak ocean. Then Kirita Sahasra Hiranya Shringam. What does Hiranya mean? Hiranyakashipu. Hiranya means gold, right? So here it says Kirita. Kirita is helmet. Sahasra, thousands of helmets. So just as the Lord on the hood on Anantashesh, each hood has thousands of golden helmets. Similarly, the mountains has thousands of peaks. And the last one is Kaustubha Ratna Garbha. The mountain has mines, right? Jewel mines. So similarly, the Lord has Kaustubha Ratna, Kaustubha jewel. That's it. So 31, next verse.
Nivitamama amnaya madhuvrata shriya swakirti mayavana malaya harim suryenduvayu agniyagamam tridhamabhihi parikramat pradhanikardurasadam.
Translation Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Lord Brahma, thus looking upon the Lord in the shape of a mountain, concluded that he was Hari, the personality of Godhead. He saw that the garland of flowers on his chest glorified him with Vedic wisdom in sweet songs and looked very beautiful. He was protected by the Sudarshan wheel for fighting, and even the sun, moon, air, fire, etc. could not have access to him. Hare Krishna.
Now seeing the Lord, seeing this form, now this verse is Brahma is concluding. Who is this? This is none other than Hari. Why? Because first he says, Amnaya Madhu Vrita Shriya. Amnaya means the Vedic wisdom. So this is a nice meditation that when we see Radha Golokananda and they have this beautiful garland, right? So what is the garland? It's saying that garland is actually all the flowers in the garland, one malaya, all the flowers in the garland, they are actually singing the Vedic hymns glorifying the Lord. Right? And all the Vedic hymns are glorifying one personality. Who is that? That must be Hari. Who else can it be? So the garland of the Lord is actually singing sweet sound, right? Amnaya Madhu, very Madhu. Madhu, we say, right? Madhurashtakam, right? Madhurashtakam. So he says very sweet sound, and that sweet sound is glorifying the beauty of the Lord from Vedic wisdoms. From Vedic. Amnaya means the Vedic version. And then he actually says, right. And then he says, what is the second point? He says, the Lord is. Do you actually ever see a photo of Krishna alone? No. Krishna is always with his associates. So seeing this beautiful darshan, he's actually seeing the Lord is always surrounded with associates. And Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur, he says like, Jai, Vijay, everyone was there. How can the Lord be away from all these? But I know how Garbhodaksha Vishnu, he was relating to Jai, Vijay. But in general, we can see that yes, the Lord is always with his associates. And here Prabhupada mentions Sudarshan Chakra. If Sudarshan Chakra is always protecting the Lord, then who is that personality who Sudarshan Chakra is always protecting? That has to be the Lord. Second point. Third point, how is Brahma concluding this is Hari? And he's making the point that even Surya, Indu, Vayu, Agni, right, the sun, the moon, the air, the fire, they actually agamam, they cannot approach the Lord. That even great demigods, when they are unable to approach that personality must be Hari. So hence in this verse he's concluding that this beautiful form of the Lord, I am getting the darshan, is actually none other than Hari. So 3 points, right? One is the garland, they're singing the Vedic verses glorifying the Lord. Second is the Lord is always surrounded by associates. And third is even great demigods cannot approach him. So even if personalities like Vayu and Indra, they cannot approach, then that personality must be the supreme personality of Godhead Hari. And 31. Oh, sorry, we did 31. 32.
Yaryeva tannabhisara sarojam atmanamambha shvashanam niyachcha tadarsha devo jagato vidhata nata param loka visarga drishtihi.
Hare Krishna. When Lord Brahma, the maker of the universal destination, that saw the Lord, he simultaneously glanced over creation. Lord Brahma saw the lake in Lord Vishnu's navel and the lotus flower as well as the devastating water, the drying air and the sky. All became visible to him. Hare Krishna.
So now he recognized that this personality is who? Hari. This is the supreme personality of Godhead. Now the Lord, who is actually, here it says, Deva Jagata Vidata. Vidata means one who is a creator. So Brahmaji, who is the maker of this universal creation, he actually saw that he is in the lotus which is coming from the navel of the Lord. Right? So he saw the lotus in Vishnu's navel, and he saw himself on top of the lotus, right? And then he saw the 3 elements: the water, the air, and the ether. Right? So sky. So devastating water, air, and ether or sky. Right? So he saw these 3. So 5 elements are there. Which are the 5 elements? The Lord himself. Brahmaji saw himself. Then he's seeing the devastating water. He's seeing the drying air, and then he's seeing ether. He's seeing all these 5 elements. Right? All this became visible to him. Right? Okay. Now last verse.
Sakarma bijam rajaso parakta prajas rikshan yad eva drishtva ostad visarga bhimukastam idyam avyakta vartmanya bhiveshitatma.
Hare Krishna. Lord Brahma, thus being surcharged with the mode of passion, became inclined to create, and after seeing the 5 causes of creation indicated by the personality of Godhead, he began to offer his respectful prayers on the path of the creative mentality.
So we talked to the five, right? So here it clearly says five. Iyat, all the five causes of creation. Who's the supreme cause? Krishna. Who's the secondary cause? Brahmaji. And then other three are the water, the ether, and the air. Okay. And then after that, it says here, Brahma Karma Bijam, right? Karma Bijam, he had the seed of doing activities, of doing karma, right? Bija means the seed of doing activities. Why? When does one have the desire to do activities? When there is the mode of passion, right? So hence it says, Rajasa Uparaktaha. So the mode of passion was initiated in Brahmaji, and hence he had the desire to actually create, right? To create. And then he saw all these five causes of creation. And then when he actually wanted to create, mode of passion is there, elements are there, causes are there, he wants to create. But before creation, what does he do? Here it says, Idyam, he worships Avyakta, transcendental. He actually offers prayers to actually worship the transcendental Lord. Okay, and the next chapter is all about the prayers of Brahmaji. Okay. Okay, so that ends this chapter, chapter number 8. Okay. Okay, any comments up to this point? And then I want to go back to a little bit of this chapter. There were some questions in the previous class about Brahma, where does he sleep? Where is Brahma? Last time you all asked, where is Brahmaji's bedroom? You asked this question, right? Where is Brahmaji's bedroom? Where does he sleep? Right? So we'll discuss that. But let's see any comments up to this point.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, I like the point that how there is always a transcendental competition between the Lord and his devotees. Devotees want to do more seva because Lord is reciprocating so nicely with his smiles. And then the devotee thinks, oh, I have not done anything, so I want to do more seva. And then the Lord saying, oh, the devotee has outdone me, so he wants to reciprocate more. Hare Krishna.
And the same between Guru and disciple. Same between Guru and Shishya. Right? Thank you. Okay, anyone else? Any other points?
Prabhu, I have a question.
Yes.
Where are the fire and the earth is not mentioned as the elements? Why could that be? Like only water, air, and sky,
Because they are, if you see in the creation, first is what? Sound, ether, right? Then comes
form.
yeah, air.
Air, yes.
Because
touch.
earth, water, fire, air, ether.
Mhm.
Right? Isn't that the order? Yes. So ether. Then so sound. Then comes, but I don't know if that order you can apply that here. The reason these three are mentioned is because in that aspect, right now, Brahmaji, when he was born, what did he see? He saw there's water that actually flooded the entire world. So he's seeing the water. And then plus there was the air of devastation. So he's seeing that. So water he was seeing, air of devastation he was seeing, and sky he was seeing. So those three elements were still there. But the remaining two, okay, now I can tell you the exact answer here. So if you see, okay, so let me go back to the point I wanted to make. What happens at the night of Brahmaji? Right? So when Brahmaji, it's time to sleep, right? So what happens? There is this partial devastation. Okay? So in partial devastation, the first thing that happens is there's a blazing fire from the mouth of Sankarshan. Right? And then that fire, it actually, and this is all the way from the lower planetary systems all the way to Swargalok. Everything is on fire. Right? So that is the next element, one of the elements, right? So three we got, what are remaining two? Fire, right? So fire. And then this fire, because of this fire, it is all the way to Swargalok. It actually happens for 36,000 human years. Everything's on fire at the night of Brahma, right? And then last time we discussed this point that, we have read about how sages from Maharlok, they actually move to Janalok with their allies, not Frontier Airlines, but they have Vimanas. They actually move to a higher planetary system. Right? Why does that happen? Which is a planetary system above Swargalok? Maharlok. Then Janalok, Tapolok, Brahmalok. Right? So that's above. So just up to Swargalok, everything is on fire. So all the residents of Maharlok, they can feel the heat. And the heat becomes so unbearable, they say, okay, this floor is getting hot, let me go to the next floor. And they take the Viman and go to Janalok. Right? So that happens. So they go to one higher planetary system. So up to Swargalok onwards below, everything's on fire. That is 36,000 years. After that, then what happens? For 36,000 years, there is flood. The water from Garbhodakasha, it actually rises, it covers everything up to Swargalok. Everything is submerged in water. So 36,000 plus 36,000. So 70,000 years, there is devastation. Every night of Brahma. Every night of Brahma. And then the planetary system above Swargalok, they are not devastated. They always stay, right? Until the end of Brahma's life, they will be there. Now, what happens to all the residents in the higher planetary systems? Brahmaji is going to sleep, right? Night time for Brahma. Now, devastation is done. Brahmaji has to sleep. Now, we read in this chapter earlier that how, let me see the verse number. Yeah. Okay, 13 and 14. Right, in this chapter, it says how Brahmaji was actually, he came out of the womb. So, okay, so going back. So all the living entities from Swargalok to the Patalok, what happens to them? Their gross body is annihilated, for sure. When we die, our gross body is annihilated. But all the subtle bodies, along with the Jiva, it actually enters into the womb of Garbhodaksha Vishnu. Okay, enters into the womb of Garbhodaksha. So up to Swargalok. But the remaining entities on the higher planetary system, we read in this 13 and 14 that how Brahmaji, he actually, from the womb, he actually entered into the stem of the lotus, and then he came on Padma Kosha, and then he appeared on the top of Brahma, on the lotus. Now, how do we understand so at the night time, does Brahma go and sleep inside the womb of Garbhodaksha Vishnu and then again he wakes up? No. Brahma's bedroom is still in Brahmalok. He sleeps there. But his subtle body, just like when we sleep, what happens? Our gross body is where we are sleeping, on our bed. But subtle body, it could be anywhere. Right? It could be anywhere. Our thoughts, everything, we are in India, we are here, we are there. Subtle body is everywhere. Okay? So similarly, Brahmaji as his gross body is still on Brahmalok. But the subtle body of Brahma, as he sleeps, it actually again enters into the womb of Garbhodaksha Vishnu. So when here it says that Brahmaji actually, he was pushed out of the womb and then through the lotus stem, he came on the top. It was the subtle body of Brahmaji that's coming on top of the lotus. So that birth, we say Brahmaji was born. What does that birth mean? That subtle body is actually again entering into the body of Brahmaji. So it is a subtle body that goes and then it again comes back. So it said that Brahmaji, yes, yeah. So that the lotus bud, it sprouted through the abdomen of the Lord, illuminating everything like the sun. Right. So it is basically Brahmaji's subtle body actually comes back and then he wakes up. Just like we wake up, basically our subtle body is like, oh, now my mind was everywhere. Now it's come back to this place. Okay. Does that answer all our questions from last time?
He wakes up on top of the lotus flower.
Yeah, because the subtle body is come out through the womb of Garbhodaksha Vishnu, enters into the stem of the lotus, and then comes on Padma Kosha, on the top of the lotus. So when the subtle body again joins with Brahmaji, then he wakes up. He's like, oh, I am here on top of the lotus. And because the subtle body has just, again come back one way at Brahmaji, then he wakes up and he's thinking, text number 18, who am I situated on top of this lotus? Where from did this lotus come from? Maybe there's some origin to this lotus. And then he actually starts looking in 4 directions. And then when he looked in 4 directions, what happened? He got 4 heads, right? 4 heads. And then, and then he actually started searching. Okay, how can I figure this out? And then he went down to the lotus, all the way to the close to the womb of Garbhodaksha Vishnu, but still he could not figure out. Right? So we made the point, the very important point, that by our own personal endeavors, you can come close to the Lord, but still not understand the Lord. Right? What happened at the starting of Bhagavad Gita? Arjun was so close to Krishna. Right? He was on the same chariot. Right? But still, he was bewildered. So it is not the closeness, the physical proximity that actually determines our connection with Krishna. It is actually how much we are hearing from Krishna, we are connecting with Krishna, we are serving Krishna, that determines the closeness. Right? So hence he actually realized that my physical endeavor to come and determine will not work. Hence he came back to the lotus, top of the lotus, and then he actually meditated. He concentrated his mind on the Lord, and he meditated for 100 years of the human being, 100 years, of human years, and then the Lord revealed himself to Brahmaji.
Usually when we wake up, we go back to where our gross body is, but he wakes up and he goes where his subtle body is. Is that?
Yes, Prabhuji, I have same question.
Oh, no. What?
His gross body is in Brahmaloka.
Yeah.
But he wakes up on top of the lotus, right? So he goes where his subtle body is.
That means he has to go back to the Brahmaloka, right? If the subtle body is merging into his original body, gross body, in other words, then he has to go back to Brahmaloka. But now he's in top of the navel, that's top of the lotus flower in the subtle body.
Yeah, so top of the lotus flower is the Brahmaloka.
Brahmaloka, right? The lotus
Top
is the
of the lotus flower is Brahmaloka, and remaining planetary system, they come on the stem of the lotus flower. So when Brahmaji wakes up, see, normally there are 14 planetary systems. But when Brahmaji wakes up, 4 are already there. So he has to recreate 10 of them.
Oh,
10
okay.
recreates. But he is born on top of the lotus, that means on Brahmaloka.
So everything is happening on the Brahmaloka only.
Yeah, but the subtle body is going down all the way to the stem. Stem is going
to the bottom.
lower region. And then it's again awakening.
Oh, okay. Okay, Prabhuji. Thank you.
It's clear?
Yeah. Now it is clear.
Vijay, verse 14, how about the bird versus the lotus? The lotus is already there, and then the bird rose up. So how do we understand those two?
Yeah. So one thing is that Padma Kosha, the lotus was actually one way. So Brahma Lok is already there for sure. So how do we understand that here it says that it sprouted, that it kind of pierced the. Oh, okay. So
Prabhuji, what is the question? I missed the question.
See, Mata, you just said that that Brahma Lok is already there.
Right.
Right. So lotus flower is already there. But in text 14, we read that where it is said that he actually, let me see, let me open it. Text 14 is. So text 14, piercing through the sum total of fruitive activity of the living entities took the shape of a bud of a lotus flower and generated from the personality of Vishnu, and by his supreme will, it illuminated everything like the sun and dried up the vast waters of devastation. Okay, this was another question, but the way I understand this, Prabhu, is like, so what is the lotus flower is there, but just like at night time, how the lotus flower actually, it gets closed in one way. So now again, the lotus flower is actually what is actually going through the stem of the lotus flower? The sum total of the form of the fruitive activity of living entities. That is actually piercing through the abdomen and coming to the top of the lotus, and that is actually causing the lotus to again open. And hence that point of the sun is actually said. By his supreme will, it illuminated everything. Just like the sun, lotus actually opens in the sun, the lotus actually opened. So it was there, but it was actually kind of closed. And again, it's open. And did I answer your question?
Sure, yeah, thank you.
And also this point, like I think Vrindavan Vilasini Mata, you had asked, like here it says, dried up the vast waters of devastation. So this one, it actually happens later. In this verse, it actually is not described that how the waters of devastation is later is dried up. Because later on, when we see in chapter 10, we'll see how Brahmaji, after he got knowledge, then he actually dried up the waters on the 14, because the 10 planetary systems, they're all submerged in water, right? He dries it up and then he creates, right? But Prabhupada is actually one way going forward and saying that, okay, it's going to eventually dry up and so on.
Yes, Prabhuji, I understood that Bhagavatam is not always chronological, right?
It will come later on, but
Yeah.
Prabhupada mentions it here.
Prabhuji, for 32,000 human years, it is on fire, but the stem will not burnt. Will it not be burnt, Prabhu?
The stem?
Yeah.
No, bro, stem is not burnt. I mean, the stem is coming from where? It is coming from the navel of Garbhodakshaya Vishnu. So one way the lotus is kind of closed, the stem is still there. But all the planetary systems which are like on the stem of the lotus, that is the ones that are burned, and that is actually the ones that are flooded with water.
Thank you.
So, Pro is it means that the planetary systems are never as such destroyed, right? Even if I mean to say the matter, the shape, Brahmaji just fulfills it with living entities, right? I mean the
So
land.
actually saying that those 14 planetary systems are destroyed actually, because they are flooded with water, and then Brahma has to recreate the 10 planetary systems every day when he wakes up.
So it becomes like a lump of everything back again, like a lump of matter with water and
Yeah, like merging into the fire and the water elements.
Like Pradhan Prabhu? That's Pradhan, right?
no, I don't think Pradhan comes in here, right? No.
So what is that then?
See, Pradhan Mahatattva, we talk about that from
Happened before.
Karanda Lakshaya Vishnu.
Yes.
That's already divided into all the different, the differentiation into different elements has already happened. But right now we are just saying, like, when a person leaves his body, what is happening? The earth element of the body is merging back into the earth element of the rest of the, world. So similarly, just the planetary system, that elements are merging back into it's already there. The shell has already, the coverings are there. Earth, water, fire, air, ether. It's already there. It's not again going through the Pradhan, Mahatattva differentiation. No. All the elements are already there. It's just merging back and then again.
So the stem is there, but all these 10 planetary systems are annihilated.
Yeah.
And these elements still remain, the basic element.
Yeah, still. I mean, the other 4 planetary systems are still there, right?
Right.
And they are made of what? Again, these elements.
Okay,
So, Prabhu, is the stem considered to be spiritual or is it matter? Because it is coming out from the Lord's navel, right?
Yeah, that we'll have to search, Mataji. I didn't read any reference to that anywhere or heard anything about the.
Yes. I have also had this question all my life of reading Bhagavatam, couldn't find it.
We can, yeah. But the point is, that's not destroyed. It's just the lotus actually just, sleeps and again wakes up. See, the point is when we actually talk about the interaction between the spiritual and the material energy. You know, like, okay, Garbhodaksha Vishnu is completely transcendental. We just read, right? The prayers. Now, in the prayers also, we'll see how Brahmaji is saying, your form is never touched by material energy. You're beyond any influence. Then how is the lotus coming, and how Brahmaji is born on the lotus? Then Brahmaji has a material body. Like, how does that spiritual to material interaction actually happen? Mhm. That is actually a little bit bewildering for us, how that happened. When Krishna comes, he appears as an avatar, right? Now we know all paraphernalia of Krishna is completely spiritual. Right? But he's here, right? On this one way, this material domain. How is that interaction happening? When the chariot is going, Krishna on his chariot, is he on the earth? You know, like, it's like we cannot understand all this. It's like little achintya for us, inconceivable, all this. But you know, from Lord's perspective, it's all Krishna energy. There's no material spiritual from Lord's perspective. It's only for us we actually see the difference.
So it's almost same like me. I just had a question that how is that? Because Nam is non-different. When we chant, we are using our material senses to
Hmm.
speak, to hear. So then how is the spiritual can interact with the matter? To that question, one answer I got that Prabhu, that on this level of Atma, Swarup, or the soul platform, we have spiritual ears, we have spiritual tongue. When we chant, we are not on the bodily designations, we are on the Atma level.
Hmm.
So in that level, we can, the spiritual interaction is happening.
So that's a good point about, there's a practical point from that when we are chanting Hare Krishna, just by saying Hare Krishna, like even a non-devotee says, like, actually that verse will come now. Brahmaji will actually pray. They say, like, even accidentally someone chants Hare Krishna, all his sins are washed away. That's right now in the next chapter. So that is the power of chanting. But we can say, okay, these material, you can say, like when we write H-A-R-E, Hare. Now that H you can actually use for writing some other word. House, home, that's material, right? So how is that letter actually spiritual? So the point is, when we are chanting the holy name, when we actually invoke, the holy name is so merciful that anyone who chants actually will get benefit. But when we actually kind of bring our mood of bhakti in the holy name, then it is actually converting those Nam Akshar into transcendental, pure spiritual names. So that's why the mood of chanting with a mood of devotion. That is true chanting. That is real chanting. But the name is so merciful that we are chanting and we are thinking of, like, oh, to-do list, laundry list, cooking items, everything. But still Krishna is so merciful. Oh, the Jiva is chanting my name. Okay, I will give him benefit. I'll give him benefit. Krishna is so merciful. But we, from our side, we should actually say, yes, Krishna is so merciful, but we should actually reciprocate. We should have that mood of bhakti to Krishna. So when we are chanting, we are calling out, Krishna, you are so kind upon me, but I am such a rascal. So many lifetimes I have turned away from you, but now I want to connect with you. Please engage me in your service. Please engage. So as soon as we bring out that mood of bhakti, then immediately we are like truly connecting with Krishna. So chanting in the mood of sambandha, connection. Okay, so we'll stop here. Any other comments?
So the holy name, the sound could be considered just ordinary until we put a bhakti into it. Is that? But the holy name is always transcendental, right? Like we can consider.
So, see, from our side, we have to see, okay, the holy name, we have to bring out that mood of devotion, and then we are really chanting the holy name. But from Krishna's side, when Krishna is descended in the form of the holy name, he's so merciful that he says, like, okay, even someone calls out Ramada in, right? You have that motel chain, right? Ramada in. Krishna says, oh, he chanted my name. Give him credit. Give him credit. Krishna is so merciful. That's how merciful the holy name is. Like how I mentioned that last time, I think, like how Prabhupada saw the article, and two articles. One was favorable, one was unfavorable. But Prabhupada said in the unfavorable, they said Hare Krishna more. So he said this is more powerful. I mean, like that is the mercy of the Holy Name. That's why it says that, who is more merciful than Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu? He's giving us this most merciful holy name, that even if someone not knowing Krishna just comes and says, oh, which group you're? Hare Krishna. Oh, Hare Krishna. I think I've heard about it. Oh, spiritual benefit. That is how merciful the holy name is. And not only spiritual benefit, but Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is like so merciful. That's why Rupa Goswami said, Namo Mahavadanya. What spiritual benefit you're talking about? He's saying you're chanting Hare Krishna. Eventually you can get the love of Goloka Vrindavan. I mean, who can be more merciful than such a personality? Right? Who can be so merciful than Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu himself? Okay. So next Sunday is actually God Purnima. Very good. Okay. So thank you so much. So let's take a 5 minutes break. We'll come and start chapter number 9. Okay. Hare Krishna.
Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare,
Dvajabhadran Kushapang Kachakalitam Rajavanita Kuchukun Kuma Lalitam Dvajabhadran Kusha Pankachakalitam Rajavanita Kuchukun Kuma Lalitam Vande Girivaradara Padakamalam Kamalakara Kamalanchitam Amalam Vande Girivaradara Padakamalam Kamalakara Kamalanchitam Amalam Dvajabhadran Kusha Pankachakalitam Rajavanita Kuchukun Kuma Lalitam Manjula Maninupura Ramaniya Achapalakula Ramani Kamaniya Manjula Maninupura Ramaniya Achapalakula Ramani Kamaniya
Okay, Hare Krishna, everyone. So let's continue. Okay, Hare Krishna. So let's continue. So let me share my screen. This actually, as I said, it's a very this chapter 9 is a very beautiful chapter, very powerful chapter in terms of the prayers that Brahmaji offers and also how Krishna actually responds to those prayers. Very beautiful, like every shloka. And you know, Brahma for us is our Sampradaya Acharya. So that makes us even more important that we actually understand Brahma's mood of prayers and see how the Lord is reciprocating with those prayers. So let me share my screen. So this is basically from Subodhini. We just see the outlook. So first half of this chapter, this is not the entire chart, but first half of this chapter is Brahma's prayers up to text 25. And the first few verses is going to talk about the Lord's supreme form. So Brahmaji is going to glorify the form of the Lord. Then from text 6 to 10, Brahmaji is going to make the point. He's actually, so this is starting of the day of Brahma. And he's already going to say how living entities in this material world are suffering. And then from 11 to 13, he'll talk about how the Lord reciprocates with the devotees, with the demigods, with those who are against him. How does the Lord reciprocate? And then he offers obeisances. And that he offers obeisances to the Lord, his merciful holy name. This 15 is very beautiful verse. And then the time factor. And then he makes a request that, you know, I want to, please empower me. I want to create. And then please wake up. Please save me from deviation. Please save me from false ego and wake up. Right? So this please wake up verse. Maybe you know, those who are into Pujari Seva, every day morning when you wake up the deities, you chant one verse. And that's exactly this verse. which is verse number 25 of this section. Okay, so this is how the prayers are. So each verse is very beautiful. So let's start. We'll start with text number 1.
Brahmovacha Gyato Simedya Shuchirananu Deha Bhajam Na Gyayate Bhagavato Gatir Ityavadyam Nanyatvarasti Bhagavan Apitanna Shudham Maya Guna Vyatikarad Yadgurur Vibhasi. Lord Brahma said, O my Lord, today after many, many years of penance, I have come to know about you. Oh, how unfortunate the embodied living entities are that they are unable to know your personality. My Lord, you are the only knowable object because there is nothing supreme beyond you. If there's anything supposedly superior to you, it is not the absolute. You exist as a supreme by exhibiting the creative energy of matter.
Okay. So these verses, and we're going to discuss a little bit in detail. It's very nice. So first he actually says, Gyato si me dhya suchiran. He actually says, so first thing is one, today after after a long time, after many years of penance, how long was Brahma actually searching for the Lord before he started meditating? Who remembers?
It's 1,000 yuga cycles? Is it?
Yeah. No, it actually
Million years.
1 millennium, right? 1 yugantar, right? 1 millennium he actually meditated, and then not meditated. Sorry, he was actually searching for. He went down to the root, and then he came back, and by the time he realized, oh, I'm doing all this, but the influence of chakra, the time factor, is actually going away, right? And then he actually decided. He came back on the lotus, and then he meditated for 100 human years, and then he had darshan. So he's saying the total time when I was searching, plus this time of meditation, I spent so much time. But today, after many years of penance, right, Gyato, I have actually come to know about you, right? And as soon as you really know Krishna, what is the mood one should have? You know, that the mood is Nanu. He actually says, but those who are Deha Bhajam, right? It's just like, Sunday feast is being served. And there is one item on the side, which you got. And that is so tasty, so delicious. And then not everyone got, just you got. And when you have it, you're like, oh, this is so good that everyone should get it. Everyone should taste, this is so good. This is beyond all the other items. This is so good. So one who really experiences the Lord, immediately the mood is like, oh, the Lord is so amazing, so beautiful, so like, I cannot even describe, he's so amazing. Oh, all you people, you have not experienced, please experience. Please experience. You're actually unfortunate if you have not experienced that. This is so, so special. So when we actually get that experience of the Lord, then naturally we want to like share it with others because the Lord is so merciful, so beautiful that it's just like all our senses will be like completely satisfied with that darshan of the Lord and we'll be like, oh, everyone else in the whole, not Kerala, please come and take darshan of Radha Goloka. That is so beautiful. I cannot describe. Please come. That should be our mood. If we really get darshan, then that is our mood. We'll naturally have the mood of compassion. Right? So Brahmaji, how he, in the previous section, we saw how nicely he's giving the description of the form of the Lord. And he's really getting darshan of the Lord. And hence he is saying, after long time, now I've got darshan, but Nanu, but those who are Deha Bhajam, those who are embodied, they are actually na gyayate. They are unfortunate. They have no darshan of your form. So he's already feeling sad for those who are not getting this darshan. Right? Right. So actually they say our preaching is what? Our preaching is our overflow of our experience of Krishna. When we experience Krishna, we say, oh, Krishna is so nice, I want to share it with others. And that's our mood. We have got such a special gift. We are like, we say like, we are so unqualified. We are rascals. We didn't do anything. But somehow the special mercy has come upon us. Now, naturally, we want to share it with others. Right? So Brahmaji is feeling in that mood. And then what does he say? So that's the first aspect of this verse, that people are unfortunate. Deha bhajam, though are embodied in this deha, they actually cannot know you. But then he actually says, Bhagavato gatir iti avadyam. Right? So Bhagavato gatir iti avadyam, he actually says, and why do they do not know? Because avadyam. Avadyam means they have actually they have committed so many offenses. They have committed so many faults that they actually cannot know you. But you are actually the gati of everyone. What is gati?
Is the path or destination.
Goal, yeah. Right? Radha Krishna Pranamura, Yugala Krishor, Jivane Marane, Gati are nahi. Right? No other Gati. What is a Gati? Radha Krishna Pranamura. Right? So that is a Gati. So here is saying, because of them avadyam, committing so many faults, they have forgotten their true Gati. Who is the true Gati of everyone? Who is the true goal of everyone? Who is the true destination of every living entity? It is darshan of Krishna, Krishna himself, right? But those who are Dev Bhajam, they do not know this. Right? Then, so that's the first part. And the second part of the verse, he actually says, Nanyat, right? Nanyat tvad asti bhagwan, right? You are the only knowable object because Nanyat, because there's no one superior to you. Where's the other verse where we read the word Nanyat in Bhagavad Gita, famous verse?
It comes in the 11th chapter when Arjun is saying to Krishna,
Um,
the only object to be known, the knowable.
okay,
You are the supreme Nidhanam.
okay. But there's one more famous verse, very famous verse from Bhagavad Gita. Nanyat.
Mata parataram nan.
Thank you. Mata parataram nanyat kinchit asti dhananjaya. Same meaning. Mata param, there is no truth superior to you. So when Brahma is saying, na anyat, right? Na anyat, there is no one superior to you. Tvat asti bhagwan. You are the only knowable object because there's nothing superior to you. Right? So basically, this is the experience that when you really experience Krishna, then you feel nothing else in this world. I have seen so many things in this world. I have traveled to different parts of the world. I have gone to this country, that country. I have gone to Hawaii. I have gone here. Everything that I've experienced, nothing compares to the sweetness of your darshan. Like how Prabhupada actually quotes that verse from the 6th chapter where Krishna tells Arjun, forgetting that line. Mad lapta, anyway, I forget that line. But basically, there's one line in that 6th chapter. Prabhupada often quotes that only one line, that having obtained this, one thinks there's no greater gain. There's no greater gain, right? Anyone knows which verse I'm talking about? Okay, I can look it up. So,
Mad bhakti lavate par.
no, Prabhu, there's one more in the 6th chapter. It's actually in that verse, Krishna is talking about, it describes Samadhi in the 6th chapter of Bhagavad Gita. Anyway, we can search it. I'll search in a minute. But anyway, so the point here is when we really get the experience of Krishna, at that time, we'll be like, oh, there's nothing else. Na anyat, nothing can be compared to the beauty of Krishna. There is no other personality who can be as beautiful or as profound as this form of Krishna. Right? And then further he says, apitan na shuddham. Right? So if there is anything that someone may say, oh, there is something else other than Krishna, then what is it? Then that is only his illusion. Right? So then he says, Maya guna vyatikara. That is only because of Maya if he says that there is anything other than Krishna. Because the only thing that is to be obtained, the only thing that is knowable is actually Krishna. That through all our knowledge, everything, studying IT software or studying chemistry, all this knowledge, finally all this knowledge should bring us to the point of knowing the ultimate source of all knowledge. because he is the only knowable object that is actually Krishna. If you know Krishna, you know everything. But if you know everything, but if you're not connecting that to Krishna, then all your knowledge is, how Prabhupada says, so many zeros. So many zeros. But if you know Krishna, then it becomes a 1 in front of so many zeros. So 1 0, and then you can 1, 10, 100, 1,000, million, right? So Krishna is that one. And all our knowable is actually useless unless it brings us to Krishna. Right? And then the last word is Yad Uru Vibhasi. Yad Uru Vibhasi means you are transcendental to all this Maya and the gunas. You are transcendental. You are beyond all this. It's only those who actually see that there is someone other than you. They see someone other than you, then they are actually in Maya, that you are the only knowable personality. Okay, verses, okay? Very nice, very powerful prayer, okay? So Prabhupada in the purport, he says, highest peak of ignorance is to actually know the supreme cause of the entire cosmic manifestation. Right? So actually to not realize that Krishna is the supreme, that means that we are actually under the influence of Maya. Right? So when something happens and we say, oh, actually this person is responsible for it. Right? Or this situation, this circumstance, hence that is responsible for it. If we are seeing that immediate cause, not seeing the ultimate cause, then we are in Maya. Because the ultimate cause of everything is actually Krishna. Right? So Prabhupada says the intervening impediment to accept Vishnu as the cause of everything is the illusionary energy of the Lord. Right? And Prabhupada so nicely says, he says the Lord has employed Maya. And Maya has done what? Created many, many wonderful distractions. Is there a limit of the distractions that Maya creates? As we go in our sadhana, we experience that, okay, as we progress, we're like, oh yeah, initially in my spiritual life, this thing used to bother me a lot. But now I don't care for it. You know? And then something else will come. And then something else will come. And then it'll keep coming. And Krishna will keep, like putting us in front of all these situations because he wants us to come to a stage of pure devotional service. But Maya is so expert. We cannot beat Maya. We have to surrender to Krishna. And then by our surrender, Maya will say, okay, I have tried all my exams and he's passed. Okay, now I let go. Okay, now go. Serve Krishna. No obstruction. Right? But Maya is so expert. So Prabhupada says, she creates many, many wonderful distractions. Therefore, the Jiva is unable to know the supreme cause of everything. Right? Then Prabhupada says, the stalwart scientists, we may be attracted to so many things. Right? And then one thing is our cell phone. Take a cell phone, we spend hours together. And we may be so fascinated. See, that person who created iPhone, so intelligent. So intelligent. But what is this iPhone for us? Yeah, we may use it for service, but for mostly the iPhone is distraction. And Prabhupada says, we get impressed. Oh, this scientist created this, so intelligent. But we don't realize that a scientist is an instrument of Maya. Maya has empowered the scientists to create all these distractions so that conditioned jivas can stay in this material world and not realize that Krishna is the supreme personality of God. So interesting. Prabhupada says the stalwart scientists are instruments of Maya. But we devotees want to become instruments of Krishna, not instruments of Maya. Okay. And then Prabhupada says the only way to know the supreme cause is by the causeless mercy of the Lord, which is actually bestowed upon by the pure devotees of the Lord. So one should one should perform acts of penance, and by realization one can know. How did Brahma know the Lord? He did penance, and then he got the realization. Right? So our processes, we have to hear first. Once we hear, we act upon it. What is our penance? Our penance is to follow the instructions given by Srila Prabhupada and previous acharyas. That is our penance. Live a life according to the instruction of Guru and our acharyas. Right? So that is our penance. When we hear and we live that life, that is our penance. So hearing, penance, and then after penance, we'll get realization. And that realization is the darshan of the Lord, or knowing Krishna. Right? Knowing Krishna. So that's our process. So hearing, performing penance, and how will we get realization? By serving devotees, actually. Right? So we hear from Guru, we hear from senior devotees, we act upon it, and then we offer seva to them. And by that, we'll know Krishna. That's our formula. Okay. And then Prabhupada concludes the purport, and he says, crows and white ducks. So, anyway, whenever I read this, I always like the visual. It always helps me to meditate that which is my choice. I'll just share my screen. I put it in my notes, actually. See? The crows, they are always attracted to what? Garbage. But you see the swan, the white ducks and the swans, they are just so. So Prabhupada, what is the sentence? We can just read the last sentence. It says, crows always engage in picking and rejected garbage, whereas the white ducks, they do not mix with the crows. Rather, they take pleasure in transparent lakes with lotus flowers, surrounded by beautiful orchards. Both crows and ducks are undoubtedly birds by birth, but they are not of the same feather. So what is this comparison between the crows and the ducks? That Prabhupada is saying that anything that is beautiful and opulent in a material sense is enjoyed by those living entities who are like crows. So if you're enjoying anything in this material world, what is that enjoyment? That enjoyment is just like enjoying garbage. But that true enjoyment is what? True enjoyment is finally getting darshan of Krishna. So what is the comparison between the first image and the second image? First image is just like, oh, so disgusting. And second image, so serene, so beautiful. So we have a choice. Do you want to become a crow? Or do you want to get attracted to the beauty of the Lord and turn to Krishna? Okay. Okay, next text number 2.
The verse that you were looking for, is it Yam Labha Chaparam Labham?
Yes. Yes, thank you. Yam labda chaparam labham, and then manyate na dikam tataha. Exactly, right? Yeah. So that's the verse that Prabhupada often quotes. He says, like, once you obtain this, then you realize there's no greater gain than this. Right? So similarly, Brahma is actually feeling, oh, I have obtained this darshan, nothing compares to this. Right? This is, and those who are missing out, he's feeling sad for them. He's feeling compassionate for them. Text 2.
Rupam yadetad avabodha raso dhayena shashvan nivritta tamasa sadanugrahaya ado grihitam avatara shataika bijam yana bhipadma bhavanat aham avirasam.
Hare Krishna. The form which I see is eternally freed from material contamination and has advented to show mercy to the devotees as a manifestation of internal potency. This incarnation is origin of many other incarnations, and I am born from the lotus flower grown from your navel womb. Hare Krishna.
Okay. So if you see again, in so many qualities of Krishna are mentioned, and this is all about the form of the Lord, right? First 5 verses is about the form. So he's saying the form which I see, right? This form that he's getting darshan. First point is what? That Rupam is avoda rasa udayena. Avoda rasa udayena. What does that mean? That form is actually a manifestation of your own internal potency. The form is not Maya. It's not created of material elements. It is a manifestation of the internal potency of the Lord. Right? And then, hence, second point, Shashvat Nivritta Tamasaha. Tamasaha means ignorance, right? Or material contamination. Because the form of the Lord is a manifestation of the internal potency of the Lord, it is forever. Shashvat means always. It is always free from material contamination. Right? So second point, the form of the Lord is always free from material contamination. Then he says, Sat Anugrahaya. Sat means what? Devotees. Anugrahaya, mercy. Anugraha, we heard Anugraha, it comes again and again in Bhagavatam, right? Anugraha or Kripa, right? That means mercy. So Sat Anugraha, it says the Lord accepts this form to give pleasure to the devotees. What is the problem with that sentence? The Lord accepts the form to give pleasure to his devotees. Is that a problem in that sentence?
He's always that form, right? He doesn't accept it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Sridhar Swami, like Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur is quoting, the Sridhar Swami particularly says that yes, if you see the Sanskrit, Sat Anugrahaya, it seems that Grihitam is the word that he discusses. He says Grihitam means he accepts a form. But actually, like Prahlad Maharaj, right? When he actually, when Hiranyakashipu challenged him, is your Lord everywhere? Is he here in this pillar? And then he smashed the pillar. Now Narasimhadev appeared in front of Prahlad Maharaj. But did that form not exist before? It is always there. That form of the Lord is eternally present, but he just appeared in front of Prahlad. But there is something unique about that. So when Lord Narasimhadev appeared in front of Prahlad, based upon the mood of the devotee, that form would actually accept that mood. So the variety is in the mood of the Lord, but the eternal form is always there. So when you say Grihitam, one way Sanskrit Grihitam means he accepted, but the true understanding he actually appeared in that particular form. Because we cannot say accepted that form. Because we say accepted means it wasn't there before. No, the forms are all eternally present. And based on how Sat Anugrah, how the devotees pray to the Lord, in that way the Lord actually manifests the form. But the forms are always there, but that forms just appear in front of the Lord. And it's so interesting. I was thinking about this point. Like, how many devotees are there? Unlimited. And how many ways they can serve the Lord? Unlimited. So if the Lord is reciprocating with each devotee in his particular mood and particular form that devotee worships, how many forms of the Lord must be there? Unlimited. Has to be unlimited. Otherwise, how is it that the Lord is actually appearing in different forms to each devotee? That means the Lords are already eternally Ramadi Murtishu Kala Niyamena Tishtan. So many unlimited forms are already there. But they just appear to different devotees with different moods based on the devotee's mood of worship. So Sat Anugraha, right? And then Ado, he is the origin in creative energy of matter. And Avatar, Sat Eka Bijam, he is the root cause of hundreds of incarnations. Like he's saying Garbhodakshaya Vishnu is the root cause of hundreds of creations, hundreds of incarnations. How is that? Because from Garbhodakshaya Vishnu, who comes? Shirodakshaya Vishnu. And all the avatars, they come from where? Shirodakshaya Vishnu. So he is the root of all those hundreds of incarnations. And then Nabhi Padma, Bharanath, Aham Avirasam. Aham. And I was born from where? Nabhi Padma. And I have actually taken birth from the navel of your beautiful form. Right? So in that way, he's glorifying the form of the Lord. Okay, everyone. So first manifestation from this form is the manifestation of your internal energy, internal potency, and hence it is always free, shashvat, free from material contamination. Third, Sat Anugrah, is actually a form that is accepted or appeared for the sake of devotees. And Ado, this form is the original form, is the origin of all creative energy. Then fifth point, Avatar, Sat Eka Bijam. He is the root cause of all the incarnations. And sixth point, it is from his Nabhi that I have actually appeared. Right? So how powerful. Each verse is like so filled with content. You can take one sentence of this and elaborate. Give a whole class on each sentence. Okay, text 3.
Prabhuji?
Yeah.
Prabhuji, like the form, let's say for Nrsingadev, like Hiranyakasipu asked a lot of conditions.
Yes.
So that is the, but you're saying I was so far I was under the impression like the form took that Narsinga form, but you're saying like the form already existed eternally. So what like how does that what is the origin for it, bro?
Yeah, that's a good point. That because Hiranyakashipu prayed that, oh, he should be not a man, not an
Yes.
animal, like all these conditions, and he actually accepted form. But that acceptance on the form, that's why I went to the point that there are unlimited forms. So whatever a living entity can imagine that, oh, I will escape the Lord by praying for these benedictions from Brahma. That form is already there. It's already there. So Krishna is like unlimited, Ananta Rupa. That's why it says. So whatever the living entity may desire to escape from the Lord, there's no escape. The form is already there. So Hiranyakashipu is that, okay, all these conditions, then that's it. But there is no escape from Krishna. Krishna has Ananta Rupa. Right? So for all our, what is our intelligence in front of Krishna's intelligence? What is the intelligence of Hiranyakashipu in front of Krishna's intelligence? So Krishna already has a form to defeat him, but it's always there. It is eternal. We cannot say that Narasimhadev appeared at a particular point of time. Because immediately if we say that, that means what? That means he is not spiritual. Because he is affected by time. He was not there before, but now he's there. That means we cannot accept that. That would be a wrong understanding of Lord, because Lord is eternally present. He's completely spiritual. If we say that, then that would make the Lord material. But we cannot accept that the form of the Lord is material. Okay.
Thank you.
Text 3.
Nata param paramayad bhavata swarupam anandamatram avikalpam avidhavarchaha pashyami vishva shrujamekam vishvamata atman bhutendriyatmakam adasta upashritosmi.
Hare Krishna. O my Lord, I don't see a form superior to your present form of eternal bliss and knowledge. In your impersonal Brahman effulgence in the spiritual sky, there is no occasional change and no deterioration of internal potency. I surrender unto you because whereas I am proud of my material body and senses, your lordship is the cause of cosmic manifestation, and yet you are untouched by matter. Hare Krishna.
Okay, so now in text 3, he's actually making a point about Brahman and the personal form of the Lord. Right? So here he's actually saying, Na atha param parama bhavataha. I do not see any form superior to your present eternal form. Didn't he already say that before in text 1? Nanyat. But why is he saying it again? No, he's not saying again. Here he is making the point that your personal form is actually the supreme, not your Brahman form. Right? So I do not see any form superior to your this personal eternal form, Swarupam. Even Brahman is not superior to Swarupam. And how do we know he's comparing with Brahman? Because he says Ananda Matram. Ananda Matram, that is referring to Brahman, your impersonal Brahman effulgence. Avikalpam, which is actually without any changes. Avidha Varchaha, without deterioration of potency. This is all describing the Brahman. So in saying that, okay, in comparison to the Brahman effulgence and your personal form, Swarupam, actually the personal form is the superior, right? Hence, I am actually offering obeisances to who? Brahman or personal form? To the personal form, right? And hence he says, Upashrita Asmihi. Hence I surrender unto the personal form. Because it is that personal form, which is Vishwa Srijam, which is the entire creator of this cosmic manifestation, and yet Avishwa. It is untouched by matter. But isn't Brahma the creator of the cosmic manifestation? But he actually makes the point further. He says, Bhuta Indriya Atmakaha Madaha. Madaha means I have become proud. If people say, I am the creator, no, Brahma, you're the supreme. He said this, you may say, I am the creator, but I actually become proud that, oh, I am the creator. But the Lord, in spite of you being the true creator, you are always avishwam, untouched by matter. And hence, you that form of Krishna. So here, if you see, this is a very nice verse to destroy the conception of Mayavadis or the conception of impersonalists. Because Brahma is clearly saying, of the impersonalist and personalist, which form is superior? Person. That because even though you are the original creator, you are not contaminated. I am the creator, but I become proud. I become pride. I have pride. Right? So hence, even though you have a form, your form is completely transcendental. My form is not transcendental because I become pride. Right? And proper in the purport, he elaborates, and then you are Atman. So he therefore says, therefore I surrender unto your personal form, not to your impersonal Brahmajyoti. So Prabhupada in the purport says, the Supreme Personality of Godhead can only be partially known and only by the process of devotional service. Right? Bhaktya mam abhijanati. How can you know Krishna as a person? Only through bhakti. Right? And okay. So Prabhupada said, only way to understand the Lord as he is by devotional service or by approaching the devotee of the Lord who always has the Lord in his heart. Right? So how can we know Krishna? By bhakti, okay. But how, I don't have bhakti. How will I know Krishna? Go to a person who has captured the Lord in his heart, who has bhakti to Krishna. Go to him and then he will give you bhakti, right? He will give you bhakti. And with that bhakti, you can actually know Krishna. Okay. And then also Prabhupada in the purport, he talks about Brahma Jyoti. He gives qualities of Brahma Jyoti. There's no chain of various kalpas, no creative activities in Vaikuntha. Influence of time is conspicuous by its absence, is a rays of the Lord, and is undeterred by the influence of material energy. So 5 qualities he gives of the Brahma Jyoti, but he says, actually, Krishna, your Swarupa is the original Swarupa. Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur, he quotes one verse from the Harivamsa, where Krishna is telling Arjun that he says that this Brahmajyoti, which lights up the whole universe, it is my condensed light. My condensed light. So Krishna is saying, it is my energy, my condensed light. Right? So certainly that also, we see how Krishna's form is a superior form. Everyone with me? Good? Tired? Imagine Parikshit Maharaj, non-stop Krishna Katha. Do you get tired? Practically for us, like after 3 hours, it's like, oh, a lot of knowledge, lot of Krishna Katha. I need a break. But imagine Parikshit, every verse he's reading, it's like, oh, this is so wonderful. Sukadeva Goswami, please don't stop. And you said this. Oh, can you tell this story, this story? He's really relishing Bhagavatam, where it's like, but we are actually at least doing that effort where we can actually really relish Bhagavatam. So we pray that Srimad Bhagavatam is pleased with our effort and gives us the taste for nourishing this wonderful Krishna Katha. Okay, text 4.
Tadva idam bhuvana mangala mangalaya Dhyane smano darshitam ta upasakkanam Tasmai namo bhagavate nuvidhema tubhyam Yo nadrito naraka bhagbhira satprasangai.
Hare Krishna translation. This present form or any transcendental form expanded by the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Sri Krishna, is equally auspicious for all the universes. Since you have manifested this eternal personal form upon whom your devotees meditate, I therefore offer my respectful obeisances unto you. Those who are destined to be dispatched to the path of hell neglect your personal form because of speculating on material topics. Hare Krishna.
Okay, so now having made the point about the personalism and the impersonal form, he's offering obeisances to what? The personal form. And now he's further making the point that why I surrender unto the personal form and not the impersonal form? Because who gave darshan to the Lord? The personal form or the impersonal form? Brahma is saying, actually, it is you. So who is more merciful? The personal form of the Lord is more merciful because the personal form has appeared in front of Brahmaji. So he's saying, I'm worshipping you, the personal form. And why? Then he says, Tatva idam bhuvana mangala mangalaya. So nice. Mangala mangalaya. That form of the Lord is actually the most auspicious form. Mangala mangalaya. The most auspicious form in all the bhuvana. What is the bhuvana? The entire planetary systems. So which is the most auspicious form in the for all the planetary system? This is the form of the Lord. So this is a nice phrase we can actually remember, that the form of the Lord is Bhuvana Mangala Mangalaya. Bhuvana Mangala Mangalaya. Right? This is the most auspicious form for all the Bhuvana, for the entire planetary system. And then it says Dhyana Smana Darshitam Upa Sakana. Right? Dhyana, one who actually meditates. When the devotees actually meditate upon you, do you appear as impersonal Brahmajyoti or personal form? You appear as the personal form. When Dhruva Maharaj meditated, did the Lord appear as impersonal Brahmajyoti and just showed him light? No, he personally came down. So when devotees meditate, they do dhyan of you, then you manifest this personal form. And hence, Tasmai Namo Bhagavate. Therefore, I offer obeisances to you, to the personal form. Right? Okay. Then the next part. So that is the first part of the verse, right? Bhuvanam Mangala Mangalaya. And then when devotees they meditate, then you actually appear to them in their personal form. Then the next part of this verse is Tubhyam ya anadritaha. Right? What does that mean? Tubhyam ya anadrita. But some of them, they neglect your personal form. Why? Because asat prasangai. Why would people neglect? Now the form is so beautiful, so glorious. We are saying it is all auspicious for everyone in this world. Now, if someone is all auspicious for everyone, then everyone should worship him. But why do people not turn to Krishna? Why do they actually neglect the personal form of the Lord? Because of asat prasangai. Right? Asat prasangai. So Prabhupada in word to word, he says, because they are attracted to material topics. Because they are talking of all these material topics, hence they are actually neglecting the form of the Lord. And what will happen to such people? They are destined to be dispatched to the path of hell. Ah, so strong, right? So basically, you take up Krishna consciousness, then Prabhupada is writing a ticket. It says destination. Like your starting point, right? Like when you buy a ticket, from and to, right? So from Bhumandala, right? Or North Carolina to Goloka Vrindavan, right? Prabhupada writing a ticket. And so like, that's it. Here, take your ticket, you can go. But those who are asat prasangai, they are attracted to material topics. They are not talking of Krishna Katha. Then Yamraj is writing from Bhumandala to Naraka. Right? And hence Prabhupada says the point and purport, they are destined to be dispatched to the path of hell. They will go to Naraka because that's the ticket they have. They go to the airport and they say, from here to Naraka. We go to the airport from here to Goloka Vrindavan. Right? So the point here, Prabhupada is saying, Brahmaji is saying that those who are asat prasangai, then Naraka bhag. That's their bhag. Their fortune is only to go to Naraka. Their destination is to go to Naraka. They have purchased the ticket to go to hell. Right? So again, we see again and again, Brahmaji is making the point, the importance of hearing Harikatha and giving up hearing about the mundane material topics. Right? We read previously also, right? Where was that? Now, who is not attracted to Krishna? Lotus feet or no? We just read it in last few classes. Same point was actually made. The one who is not attracted to Krishna's lotus feet, they are actually because they are attracted to mundane topics. They do not surrender to lotus feet of Lord. Okay. So here, Prabhupada in the purport, he talks about again personal and impersonal form, right? So actually, Brahmaji is actually making the point that those who neglect the personal form of the Lord. So who is neglecting the personal form of the Lord? Materialists for sure, but also the impersonalists, the Mayavadis. They are actually neglecting. So Prabhupada is making the point that even they are destined to hell. Now one may say the impersonal is also destined to hell. How do we understand that? Because one may say impersonal is emerged in Brahma Jyoti. So how is that hell?
There is no service there. It's nothing to do.
Okay, so that's a good point. So the point is, even though one may go to Brahma Jyoti, but how is that going? That is hellish condition. Though one may not give the label of hell, but being there in Brahma Jyoti without service is as good as hell. Right? So even for the impersonalist, that elevation to Brahma Jyoti is as good as hell for a devotee because there is no opportunity to offer seva. So even they are Naraka Bhagbihi, right? They are destined to go to hell, right? So their hell is not as such the location, but there's no opportunity to offer seva, that is hellish. Actually, for a devotee, even Swargalok is hellish. Merging into Brahma Jyoti, though that's Krishna, that's also hellish. Swargalok is hellish because there is so much opulence that the opulence is a distraction to offer seva. Then it's hellish. Right? Brahma Jyoti is hellish, no opportunity to serve. Hellish condition. Right? But only seva to Krishna. Right? Okay. And Prabhupada says in the purport, he says, persons who are addicted to the impersonal feature of the Lord, whether in meditation or otherwise, are all pilgrims to hell. Pilgrims to hell. Pilgrims, why? Because they think they are going a nice spiritual path. But where are they reaching? They are reaching hell. Right? Okay. And then Prabhupada goes to 12.5. Kleshodikaratasham. Avyakta sakta chetasam. Avyakta hi gatir dukham. Dehvabir avapyate. Right? Because their minds are attached to the impersonal form, advancement is very, very troublesome. And then to make that progress in that path is very difficult. Then Prabhupada makes another point here. He says, because this verse is saying asat prasangai, material topics, and he actually makes a point that the impersonalists, they actually, what is their speech? They are connecting to Brahma Jyoti, but the problem is, how much can you talk about the Brahma Jyoti? You can say, okay, it is the impersonal effulgence of the Lord, it is undifferentiated, it is the energy, but that's it. What else can you talk about it? Maybe there's more you can say, but compared to Krishna Katha, you cannot talk much about it. Hence, those who are impersonalists, because they don't have a subject matter to talk about, Prabhupada in his classes also, he says, they come to the Bhagavatam, they'll tell stories and they'll twist the meaning and say, oh, finally, hence you have to merge into Brahma. Because there is no subject matter to talk about. Hence, Prabhupada here also makes the point. Hence, they are actually simply engaged in, they're more addicted to false arguments than to reality. What does this mean? Because they cannot talk of so much about Brahman, what do they say? They read Bhagavatam and they'll use Bhagavatam to deny the form of the Lord. And hence they are more addicted to false arguments than to the real truth. And this is, I had experience also of this, that I was talking to one person, like he was connected with another spiritual society, and we had a discussion and he was like totally like impersonalist from that side, and I was telling him like, so many points from Bhagavad Gita and so on. But I was seeing like his points where like he was telling all the stories. He was telling stories from Puranas, but he was telling the stories just to make the point that the form of the Lord is not the highest. And like he used to tell a whole story and then after that saying, why did you tell the story? What was the point of it? There's no point. He just had the story just to make conversation, but there was no point. And hence they are more addicted to false arguments. And they'll just say, no, what you're saying is wrong. What you're saying is wrong. But what is the truth? Tell me. And they'll talk of Brahma Jyoti a little bit, but nothing more to talk about. They don't have a subject matter to talk about. So even the impersonalists, they actually take to what? Asat Prasanga. They take to materialistic topics. Okay. And Prabhupada says, there's no jugglery of words and activities in the transcendental kingdom of the Lord. So now the impersonalists may say, no, all you're saying is all Maya, all this, all that, jugglery of words. But in spiritual world, no jugglery of words. That is sweet Krishna Katha. Where is Radharani going? Where is Krishna going? The parrot will come and say, oh, today Radharani has gone to this Malyahara Kund. Today there's a Pearl Festival. Krishna, you should go there. And that's only going on in the spiritual world. Not all this jugglery of words and, oh, no, this shloka, actually it means this. No jugglery of words. Just pure Krishna Katha. And we are so fortunate that we can engage in that pure Krishna Katha by mercy of Srila Prabhupada. Okay, text 5.
Ye tu tvadiya charanambuja kosha gandham jigranti karna vivarai shruti vata nittam bhaktya grihita charana paraya chatesham napaishi nata hridayam buruhat swapumsam.
O my Lord, persons who smell the aroma of your lotus feet, carried by the air of Vedic sound through the holes of the ears, accept your devotion service. For them, you are never separated from the lotus of their hearts. Hare Krishna.
So, how do we smell? How do the devotees smell? The devotees smell through the ears. And what are we smelling? And here it's so nice. It says, Ya tva tvadiya charana ambuja kosha gandham. Kosha means it is like the inner side of the lotus feet of the Lord. Devotees are smelling the fragrance of the inside of the lotus feet of the Lord. Right? Jigranti, they are smelling the flavor of the kosha, the inside of the lotus feet. And how are they smelling? Karna vivarahi, through the channel of their ears. Right? So normally we think ears are for hearing, but now ears are for smelling. And then later in this chapter, we'll see ears are for seeing. Right? Seeing. And then we already read ears are for drinking. Right? Pibanti Bhagavata. So ears is used for every function. Right? We can see through our ears, we can taste through our ears, we can smell through our ears. Right? Everything is there. All through our ears. It's all through Krishna Katha. So here, those who, because previous verse he said, Asang Prasangai. Those who actually drink material topics, they are destined to hell. But what do devotees do? They actually smell the inside of the lotus feet of the Lord through the channel of the ears. And how is that? Shruti Vata Nitam, which is the air of the Vedic sound. So when they hear this Vedic sound vibration, they are actually smelling the inside of the lotus feet of the Lord. And then Grihita Charana Bhaktya. They accept devotional service to your lotus feet. Tesham na apaishinata. For them, O my Lord, you are never separated from Hridaya, Ambu, Ruhat. Right? Swapumsam. So nice actually. He said, for them, you are never separated from the lotus of their hearts. So one who engages in hearing Krishna Katha, what happens? Krishna is captured in the core of our heart. Krishna does not leave the heart of a person who is actually always engaged in hearing Krishna Katha. Right? We discussed this point in Bhagavatam 2.8.5. Right? How Krishna actually, he appears on the lotus feet of our heart. Krishna actually appears in the lotus of our heart. Which is that verse? I think Gopinath Acharya Prabhu, you had done a class on that, right? What is the starting of that? 285.
Pravishta Karna Randre.
Yes, Pravishta Karna Randre. Bhava Saroruham, right? It actually says, when we hear Krishna Katha, then Krishna actually appears on the lotus of our heart. Right? So similarly here is saying, one who actually hears Krishna Katha, then we are smelling the lotus feet of the Lord. And if we are doing that, then Krishna is captured in our heart. And then he never leaves the heart of such a person. You know, Krishna is captured in the heart. So if you want to capture the Lord in our heart, then always hear Krishna Katha. Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur says, just like bees, they are always eager for like nice smell. Wherever there's a nice smell, nice smelling flower, the bees will immediately rush to that. Similarly, devotees are like bees. Wherever there's nice Krishna Katha going on, they'll go and they'll start hearing Krishna Katha. Right? So that's the nature of the devotees. And then Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur also says, just as they do not give up their greed for your lotus feet, you also do not give up them, being greedy for their lotus hearts filled with sweet prema. So he's actually saying that mutually the Lord brings the devotee under control and the devotee brings the Lord under his control. Why? Because devotee, wherever there's Krishna Katha, he goes and hears Krishna. And by that, what he has done? He has conquered the Lord. The Lord is captured in his heart. And also the Lord himself, he actually becomes greedy for the lotus heart of the devotee. So he does not want to leave, right? So both ways, the devotees want to capture the Lord and the Lord wants to capture devotees. So there's a mutually, a devotee brings the Lord under control and the Lord is brings the devotee under control. Like it's both ways, we see that pure relationship. Right? So pure devotees, they have nothing beyond the lotus feet of the Lord. The Lord also does not wish to be separated from the lotus hearts of his pure devotees. The first sentence Prabhupada says. Right? So hence there's this transcendental relationship between the Lord and his devotees. And particularly here, Prabhupada actually mentions para-bhakti. Para-bhakti means spontaneous love of God on the basis of this intimate relationship. So when we talk of this, when the Lord is captured in our heart, what kind of devotion are we talking about? It is not sadhana bhakti. It is actually coming to a higher state where at least we are coming to a stage of ruchi, right? Ruchi, right? Where we have come to where we have taste for Krishna Katha. And by that, Krishna actually gets captured. So here it talks of spontaneous love of God. Okay. Okay, so this first 5 verses is describing the form of the Lord. Okay. Any comments up to this point? Questions up to this point? So what all have we discussed in the first 5 verses? We talked about how, first we talked about how after many years of penance, the Lord, Brahmaji is able to see the Lord and only by the Lord's mercy. And then he talked about how people are so unfortunate because they cannot see this form of the Lord, right? And there's nothing comparable, none yet comparable to the form of the Lord. And the Lord is free from material modes of nature and from gunas. Then the original form of the Lord is manifested from internal potency. It is free from material contamination. It is manifested for the sake of devotees. It is the original and is the navel of this form that I am actually born. And then compared to the impersonal Brahman effulgence and the form of the Lord, which is better? The form of the Lord, right? The form of the Lord. And hence, I will actually offer obeisances to the form of the Lord because Bhuvana Mangala Mangalaya. And who can actually appreciate the form of the Lord? Those who actually hear, they smell the lotus feet of the Lord through the channel of the ear. They will appreciate the form. Otherwise, those who are attached to asat prasangai, the temporary, keep talking of temporary, politics and this and that, and sports and movies and all this nonsense. We keep talking on that. Then we will not appreciate the lotus feet of the Lord. And even up to the point of impersonalist, that also Brahmaji is saying, Naraka, Naraka Bhagbihi. They are also destined to hellish conditions. Right? So only those who are hearing Krishna Katha, they are going to be successful in their life. Everyone else is subjected to hellish condition. Okay. Any comments, questions of this point?
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Prabhuji, I like the point that we can understand Krishna only by bhakti, devotional service. And how can we get bhakti? By approaching to a devotee who has Krishna in his heart.
Very nice. Very nice. And that we can relate it to this verse. And who has Krishna in his heart? one who is always attached to hearing and speaking about Krishna Katha, right? And that is one of the symptoms of a devotee in bhav. One of the 9 symptoms is what? He always likes to hear and talk about Krishna, right? That's a sign of a devotee. Nice. Okay, anything else?
I was thinking about this, having attachment to this mundane topics and your visual of the crows getting attracted to the garbage, and also Prabhupada being very strong about, or maybe in the verse also it's there, that we go to hell if we have, interest in those topics. Asatsanga
Yeah.
came across very strong today.
I mean, like the whole Bhagavatam is just bringing us to the point of hear Krishna Katha, hear Krishna Katha, hear Krishna Katha. And you can see our spiritual life, a sign of sure advancement in our spiritual life is how much we are attracted to hear Krishna Katha. Anytime there's a gap, oh, I'm waiting for someone to come. Okay, we are chanting or we are hearing Krishna Katha. Right? We are taking a shower in the bathroom, hearing Krishna Katha. We are here, hearing Krishna Katha. Driving, hearing Krishna Katha or chanting. We just fill our life with Krishna Katha. In Prabhupada's mercy, we have so much unlimited topics, lectures to hear. We have we start hearing the lectures on ISKCON Desire or, so many. It's unlimited to hear. I don't if you actually, maybe someone should do that. If you calculate the time of all the lectures given by Srila Prabhupada and our, in ISKCON Society, all those, and you see our lifetime, I feel like we have more lectures than even our lifespan. So much lectures are there. We cannot even finish. But so much nectar is there. So whole point is bringing us, fill our life with Krishna. How we can think about, okay, how can I increase? I'm hearing so much every day. Can I take it one more step? Half an hour more. I do this, but while I'm doing that, can I hear Krishna Katha? See how we can increase Krishna. And that's the whole point of Bhagavatam. Okay, so let's see, 38. Should we stop?
Prabhu, I've got a question.
Yeah, okay. So we won't continue. The next section from 6 to 10 is Brahma will talk about that this is the starting of creation, and he is going to say how people are going to suffer from insomnia. People think that, oh, now insomnia is such a big problem. They take sleeping pills and this and that. Brahma at the starting of creation, in the morning he's saying, and then all these living entities, they're going to get so busy at work. And because their mind is so agitated, they cannot sleep at night and they'll have insomnia problems. I feel so sad for them, Brahmaji is saying. And then he'll give a solution. Right? Okay. Yes, Mataji.
Prabhuji, Karuna Mataji also have a question in chat.
Okay. So Divya Mataji, you go ahead and then we can go to Karuna Mataji.
So, Prabhu, how is Brahmaji is aware of Brahman? Because the Brahmanda, then there is Lord Karanasra Vishnu is lying, then the Viraj, then Brahman. It's as of linear, So is he aware of it, or he has personally seen also? I mean, because of his tapasya, he can obviously get the knowledge of all the realization, because once you have seen Bhagavan, that means you have already understood Brahman realization.
Yes, that's the key point. That once you get one realization, that already includes Paramatma and Brahman. So did the Brahma actually see the Brahman effulgence? Well, wherever the Lord is energy or this effulgence is actually Brahman effulgence. Right? So one way the Brahman effulgence is also there, but Brahma is actually making the point. Okay, Brahman effulgence is there, Krishna is there, but which is superior? The form. The form is the highest. Understand? And the other point, Karuna Mataji said, the water in Vrindavan is nectar, and the Brahma Jyoti effulgence, which is full of transcendental bliss, is directly perceived there in its form. Yes. So certainly, so why is Brahman described as the full of transcendental bliss? So Brahma Bhuta Prasannatma na sochati na kankshati. So the Brahma Bhuta stage is said to be a stage of happiness, for sure. Why? Because na sochati na kankshati. There cannot be any suffering of this material world there. There's no question. It's completely spiritual, for sure. So hence it is full of transcendent bliss. But beyond that, the realization of the personal form of the Lord. So that stage is certainly full of transcendent bliss. No. But beyond that, when we connect to the Bhagwan feature, then how Nectar of Devotion makes the point, then the happiness, the bliss in Brahma Jyoti, if that bliss is multiplied 1 trillion times, right? Trillion, not even billion. So 12 zeros multiplied by what is it? Yeah, trillion times, 12 zeros. If you multiply that by 1 trillion times, that does not compare to a drop of bliss in bhakti, right? And hence, Nectar of Devotion, first chapter, what is it? Bhakti is what? Sandaratma Visheshatma, right? What's it? What's Sanskrit? Divya Mata, you know? Yes? Okay. So that means it is a condensed form. So that bliss is there. It's complete bliss in Brahma Jyoti. But when that is condensed, then that nectar is the nectar of devotional service in the personal form of the Lord. Does that help, Mati?
It does. It helps a lot. Thank you.
Okay.
Oh,
Anything
I
else?
was also wondering when you said there is no just this pastime came into my mind that there is no jugglery in spiritual world. That when Radharani becomes angry, Krishna comes and Radharani says, "Who are you?" Then Krishna says, "I am Madhu." "Oh, you're the season." "Oh,
Yeah.
you're the bumblebee." Or when she doesn't want to see him. So there is word jugglery, but
But that's a transcendental word jugglery, not the
yeah.
word jugglery of here, where people take a shloka and say, oh, maybe this means this and this. Not that kind of word jugglery, but the jugglery of increasing the nectar of Radha and Krishna's association. That kind of word. Yes. Leda Sakhi is expert at that. Right? Yes. Thank you. Okay. Anything else?
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. You also mentioned that the mood of devotion during chanting will make the aksharam transcendental, like the Hare.
Yes, thank you. Nice point. Yeah, that's why, like, when you're chanting, somehow bring out some emotion, some feeling for Krishna. Just, express that through our chanting. Then our chanting becomes, that's like the second stage of chanting is chanting in that mood of sambandha. Right? Anything else?
I was reflecting on the points about hearing. I mean, the ears are for drinking, for tasting, for seeing. It's all through Hari Katha, for Krishna Katha. And how even Mayavadis, they need to go to the Srimad Bhagavatam stories is because there's no variety for them. So I was thinking how sometimes we're not attracted to Krishna Katha because, same story. And it seems like there's so much more variety in this world. Like, oh, I can hear, there's so many novels I can read as movies. And it seems more interesting because the stories we already know. But if we hear Krishna Katha from somebody who relishes it, then we can also enter it. Maybe you can say something more about that. Like, why does it seem like Krishna Katha can sometimes seem more boring than like the variety of material topics, or how to get a taste, basically.
Okay. Anyone? Okay, let me quickly want to share this verse. The answer is right here. Can anyone guess what I'm thinking as the answer? I mean, this is difficult, but there's one verse which completely gives this answer.
Vag Visarga.
Okay, but there's something else. Rupa Goswami. Yeah, let me share my screen.
The disease of jaundice?
Yes. Sat Krishna Nama Charitadi Sitapya Avidya Pitopatapa Rasanasya Narochikanu Kintu Adharad Anudinam Kalu Saiva Justa Sadvi Kramad Bhavati Tadgata Mulahan. Translation: the holy name, character, pastimes, activity of Krishna are all transcendently sweet, like sugar, candy. Although the tongue of one afflicted by the jaundice of avidya, ignorance, cannot taste anything sweet. Yes? So that is our situation right now. We are all afflicted with jaundice, jaundice of avidya. And hence we feel other topics more attractive. There's so much variety, games, movies, songs, like unlimited. And we feel attraction for them. Why? Because we are in a disease condition. But what is the solution? It is wonderful. And that's simply by carefully chanting these sweet names every day. A natural relish awakens within his tongue, and his disease is gradually destroyed at the root. So the solution is Kintu Adharat, right? Carefully Adharat. So, recently we're in Vrindavan and Sachin Maharaj was focusing on this point. Adharat, very carefully. Anudinam, every day. We have to do what? Justa, or you have to take this sugar candy. Even though it's not tasty, every day just here. Okay, I have to do it. I was also thinking about this point. Anyway, let me finish this one. Sadhvi Kramat. And then gradually, Kramat, we will actually get Sadhvi. We'll get a taste for this Krishna Katha. And then the disease, Tadgata Mula Hantri, will be destroyed at the root. Right? So I was thinking about this point that, yes, we have attraction for all these other topics. And we think like sometimes, okay, yeah, I should hear Krishna Katha today. I didn't hear Bhagavatam class. I should hear. But also this something is there. This seems more attractive. Prabhupada actually he had this phrase. He said, just do it. Nike, their slogan is just do it. But Devotee said that, actually Prabhupada said that before even Nike started their just do it slogan. But I feel like even I was thinking about this point this week, even in our spiritual life, we think too much. We like in the sense of like, oh, maybe this is better. I mean, when you're thinking all this, it is better that just do it. Just start hearing Harikatha. And as soon as you start, then you'll feel like, oh, this is so good. It is the starting problem where it actually comes and say like, oh, maybe this. But instead of giving so much thought to that as soon as you give thought, then you're already on the other side. So instead of thinking so much on the material side, just do it. This year, okay, every day I have my quota of hearing. Today I'm not here. Let me hear now. And as soon as you start, because you're already at that point, made the choice of Krishna against Maya, then immediately Krishna reciprocates. That, oh, you selected me over Maya? Here, I will give you a taste. And you'll hear something like, oh, this is so nice. And you will get like drops of nectar because you have turned away from Maya and turned to Krishna. So even that small changes where we are not overthinking and say, just do it, just chant your rounds, just chant, just hear Harikatha, just read. You feel like, oh, lifting Bhagavatam, like reading Bhagavatam, and then sometimes we are like, oh, I'm so lazy, I'm so tired. And the Bhagavatam books, it actually weighs like 1,000 pounds. It's like, oh, I cannot even lift this book, it's too heavy, maybe later. Don't think too much. Just open it. Okay, I was this sloka, let's start reading it. And then taste will come. So, anyway, few thoughts I was thinking. Okay, we'll stop here. Great. Thank you all so much. Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Vancha kalpatarubhyasya kripa sindhubheva cha, patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namaha. So next Sunday is actually Gaur Purnima, and we have big festival starting at 12:30, Kirtan and all. So I'm thinking whether don't want to miss the class, but maybe we can have little shorter class, I'm thinking, because we'll have to go to temple to do seva and everything, and want everyone to come early for all the 4 hours of Kirtan. So maybe a little shorter class next week. That's what I'm thinking. If you have some thoughts, you can personally share it with me also. But otherwise, we'll start at the same time, but we may end a little earlier. Okay. Thank you so much. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Dandavat Pranam. Thank you. So we can do on Saturday, if possible, for everyone, and you first. No?
Packed, Mataji. We have 2 events,
Yeah.
2 programs on
I
Saturday.
know. Services are there. Yeah.
Okay. So Sunday we can do, we'll do a little shorter. Thank you so much. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Thank you so much.
Thank you for joining, everyone. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Hare
Hare
Krishna.
Krishna.
Thank you, Prabhuji. Hare
Thank you.
Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Thank
you,
you so
Prabhu.
much, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna.
Thank you for joining, Divinatha Mataji. We are missing you.
Just one more week, Prabhu. After that, I'll see you from